Page 104, Srimad Ramakrishna. Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Shri Govinda Gopinatha, Madana Mohana.
Govinda
कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन कालिंदी जमुना जय जय महावन श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jatagana Jaya Rama Nata Jaya Rohini Nandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jatagana Jaya Rama Nata Jaya Rohini Nandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jatagana Jaya Rama Nata Jaya Rohini Nandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jatagana Jaya Bija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Bhakti Te Jahara Payo Govinda Karana Jaya Bija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Bhakti Jahara Govinda Karana Jaya Bija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Bhakti Te Jahara Payo Govinda Karana Jaya Bija Patni Jaya Naga Kanya Bhakti Jahara Govinda Karana Shirata Mandala Jaya Radha Jama Jaya Jaya Radha Lila Sarva Manorama Shirata Mandala Jaya Radha Jama Jaya Jaya Radha Lila Sarva Shirata Mandala Jaya Radha Jama Jaya Jaya Radha Lila Sarva Manorama Shirata Mandala Jaya Radha Jama Jaya Jaya Radha Lila Sarva Jaya Jaya Dhara Jaya Rasa Dhara Parasiya Bhave Jaha Bhajate Bhajara Jaya Shidana Vapada Pana Kariyatmaya Bina Krishna Radha Kohe Nama Sankitaya Jaya Radha Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Govinda Gopinath Madana Mohana Jaya Radha Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Govinda Gopinath Madana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare
हरिबोल बोल जय राधा माधव।
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय गोपी जय वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जय जय गोपी जय वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय गोपी जय वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जय जय गोपी जय वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जय वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय जय यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम
Shri Radha Krishna Shyam Radha Grivodhan Vrindavan Dham ki Mayapur Dham ki Madhuri Dham ki Jagannathpuri Dham ki Dwarkapuri Dham ki Yamani ki Yamani ki Tulsi Devi ki Tulsi Devi ki Samarya ki all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to the simple devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Govinda, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. Namo Shukadaya Krishna Prasthaya Yogare Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Prajari Navashesha Shunyavadi Pashati Vishadavadi.
Saraswati Vyasam
निदानमाननिन्दो मम वाचि वदामुरारे मधुरिकाकरैकापिकापिकापि नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णसखाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी अशक्यविशेषालिने श्रीमद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः वन्दे नन्दव्रजश्रीणां पादरेणुमवीक्षसा व्यासं हरिहरोगीतं भुवनत्रयं गोपीचरणारविन्दपरमाणे नमः पीताम्बरं कविराजशक्रशङ्खं कौमुदीचर्चितं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायमतिसुन्दरं वहासं वातालयेशमनिशं विभावयामि कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारः वेदवेदवर्णं ब्रह्म वासुदं पुरयो मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लम्बेगिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णाय नमः श्रीहरये नमः सर्वत्र गोविन्दनामसंकीर्तनं गोविन्द गोविन्द. भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दे सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले महिमहि रक्षति सुगन्धिकरणे मूढजैः धनागमतृष्णां चुरुसत्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णां यल्लभसे च कर्मोपातं युद्धं तेन विनोदय चित्तं नामीदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागा मोहावेशम् एकमासवसारि विकार मनसि चिन्तय वारं वारं मननीतरगत जलमृतरणं तत्त्वज्ञेयम् अतिशयशबलं युधिव्याधि अभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तं यावद्विधो वासनासक्तस्तावन्ति च परिवारं जगतः पश्चाज्जीवति चर्चयतेः वासां कोऽपि न उच्यते यावत्पवनो वसति देहि तावत् पृच्छति विषयं देहि तदवति वायं नेहापाये भार्यामिति तस्मिन् काले बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरणीसक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्तः काकेकान्ता तस्यै पुत्रः संसारवयम् अतीव विचित्रः कस्य योगः उपहायामः तत्त्वं चिन्तय परिहभ्रागः सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्ति वैसिकलेन कामविकार शुष्के नीरे कसार क्षीणे गिते कपरिवार ज्ञाने तत्त्वे कसंसार मातुरु धनमद यौवनगमो हरति निमेषात् कालं सर्वं मायामायिनं अखिलं हित्वा ब्रह्मपदत्वं भविष्यति हित्वा विनयामित्यौ सायं प्रातौ शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायातौ कालक्रीडति गच्छति आयुः तदपि न मुञ्चति आशावान्. So these are the 12 verses, what is known as Dvadasha Manjariya Stotra. We have seen last Sunday that in Vedam, that normally that generally we say that the clouds have covered the sun, isn't it? But you can say this also in another way, that that sun is seen between the clouds. Sun is seen between the clouds. In other words, because of the presence of the sun, we are seeing the clouds. We are seeing the clouds. So this is a sadhana actually, because normally we say clouds have covered the sun, or due to the sunlight you are seeing the clouds. Similarly, if you remember this, that inside us various emotions are coming, isn't it? Like lust, anger, envy, and so on and so forth. So all these things are happening, and behind that the sun is there. What is that? The awareness of my existence. I am, aham asmi. And it is and that comes, and because of these various emotions that come, vigara they are called, they actually cover this awareness inside. They actually put the screen in front of the awareness. And therefore, we are not realizing that aham feeling that's coming from inside is Brahmasmi. That aham is Brahmasmi, but why we are not experiencing that? Because of the continuous flow of the emotions in front of them. So that is why when we say to somebody, aham Brahmasmi, to someone, that Mahavakyam, it is called Mahavakyam. Mahavakyam means the famous Upanishad statement. The truth is now getting realized within us because of the continuous flow of thought waves and the different emotions that is passing in front of that and keeping a constant cover of that. Continuously covering, putting a shield in front of that. So in front of that awareness, aham Brahmasmi, what is known as Prajnanam? Prajnanam is that consciousness. And in covering that Prajnanam, one after the other, the clouds are coming and passing through in front of that. And because our attention or Shraddha is in the thought waves and in the emotions, what do we say? Oh, I cannot see this. I am getting angry, I am getting envious, I am getting greedy, I am getting proud and various other things. And so many emotions are coming to me, we say like that. So all these things, if we realize that these are emotions that is coming one after the other, and because of these emotions and various thought waves, then many people who are performing sadhana, they will say this, that I am unable to realize the soul, unable to realize the soul within. So, better than that, instead of saying like that, when the emotions are coming through or thought waves are coming through, if you notice that there is somebody who is hiding behind that, because if he is not there, these emotions won't happen. Emotions are also experienced or their presence are noticed only because of the presence of the soul behind, Alma, or the Aham, Asmi. So, just like you can see that a pillar won't get angry, pillar won't get greedy, pillar won't get any of those emotions, and even envy will not come from the pillar. But it's coming to me. Why? Because that comes itself, that thought itself. Why am I getting all the emotions? Why the pillar doesn't get the emotions? That itself is a symptom of the knowledge inside. Symptom of the knowledge of the soul inside. Because when this emotion is coming, behind that the light is there, the soul is present there. And if you, while situated in that state, that knowing very well that there is this lamp behind, the light behind, which is the presence of the Atma or the soul behind that, it is situated in that state that you are saying that I am getting angry, I am getting envious, I am getting greedy, I am getting proud. All these things we are making that statement while situated with the identification with the soul. That is how we are making that statement. So, when it is coming, any emotions, by using those emotions alone, one can go back to that source, to that light. What does self-realization mean? Self-realization means that to be situated on the identification of the soul. I am that identification. And able to separate yourself from all the other emotions and excitement and all the other thought waves that's coming through. Able to free yourself from that and able to be identified with the soul or vikalpam. Vikalpam means the thoughts that's coming in and constantly causing the disturbances inside. That is vikalpam. Without vikalpam, when it's there, it's called nirvikalpam state. Nirvikalpam state. So, in that awareness, aham brahmasmi, if it is not polluted with any emotions or any thought waves, that state will be what is known as that the aham brahmasmi state. So aham brahmasmi state means inside that awareness, aham, when it is in a pure form, when it is not getting mixed with any emotions or any thought waves, in its pure form, it is Brahman realization, aham brahmasmi. But it won't happen for us because normally we have so many thoughts coming one after the other. And before we can even take notice of one thought, the next thought comes in. So fast is this change of thoughts inside or even the change of emotions inside. Especially when the senses are open to the world, constantly they are sending signals inside through the senses. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. All the five senses are sending the signals in. Correspondingly, inside a thought wave is created. A thought wave is created. So they are functioning all the time. And this interaction between the sense objects through the senses with the mind is a thought wave that is coming through all the time. So when that stops, and when in its pure form as aham brahmasmi state, it is known as Shuddha Prajna, pure Prajna, Prajnanam Dharmam, that Prajna state. And at that time, everything is Bodham. Bodham means awareness. Awareness. Everything will be experienced as Bodham. Bodham means awareness. Now, what does Bodham means? Bodham means, the word Bodham is not Bodham. Bodham means awareness, isn't it? That word Bodham is not Bodham. What actually it is only a concept. It's only a concept. Bodham means what? Bodham means where will you search for Bodham? That is the second time. That is the time when he says the second Mahavakyam, which is aham brahmasmi. So the first Mahavakyam is Prajnanam Brahmam, and Prajna or that Prajna, which is that knowledge of this realization of the Ahamasmi. My identity, Aham, that Aham. Awareness inside, that is Prajna. And that happens when there is no thought waves coming through or many emotions happens, you will be able to get to that first. And then it comes that Shuddha Prajna, pure Prajna, Prajnanam, that will come out as Bodham or awareness. Bodham or awareness. And that is that state called aham brahmasmi state. So, where should you look for that Bodham? Bodham you have to find in aham. That Bodham or awareness, you have to find that in aham brahmasmi. So, if you want to experience that Bodham is not just a word. Bodham is the word what we use for explaining that. But if you want to know the Bodham in practice, if it has to happen, so then you have to go to that awareness of what is known as the my existence of aham, awareness of my existence, which is known as aham. And very quietly, you turn your attention towards that. And when you turn your attention towards that, what happens is that starts seeing that it is in that awareness that all the other vyavaharam or transactions are happening. Because you can see here that your emotions, for example, they are all transactions, isn't it? Kopam, anger, then lust, kama, envy, which is asuya, and then the dvesham, hate, towards all of them. Similarly, childhood, boyhood, there, and it's all happening in what is known as ahangaram. Ahangaram is in the presence of ahangaram these emotions will work. Otherwise it cannot work. That means only when the jiva is there, these emotions can work. Otherwise they can't work. We get so frightened about these emotions, isn't it? We think that, oh, why is such strong anger I am getting, or such strong greed I am experiencing, or some strong envy I am feeling, or lust I am feeling. We get frightened about that. But what you have to take into account is, they can only function in the presence of jiva, in that ahangaram. Ahangaram, only in the presence of ahangaram, they can function. If ahangaram is not there, none of them will be there. That's the most interesting thing. This is why in Vedanta they say, you get rid of the ahangaram inside, all problems are gone with that. There is no more lust, there is no more anger, greed. Such things cannot come anymore because ahangaram is gone. So releasing the ahangaram, false ego from inside. That is why he keeps insisting on this false ego, false ego. Ahangaram, which is addressed as false ego, is the most is the one which gives life to all the different emotions. You will not experience anger, you will not experience greed, envy or any such feelings as long as this ahangaram is there. So, if you take away from ahangaram that karam part of it and you substitute with bodham, it is ahambodham. Because ahangaram means what? Ahangaram means kartrutvam, bhoktrutam. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. That is ahangaram. You may wonder in Bhagavad Gita's Bhasham, if you read the commentary, kartrutva, bhoktrutam, whole last 6 chapters in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita is referring to Karma Yogam. And what is Karma Yogam? Freedom from kartrutvam, bhoktrutam. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. If these two things goes away, ahangaram goes. So difficult it is to wipe that off from inside. Like we say ragadvesham. Ragadvesham comes from where? Kartrutva bhoktrutam. That is where ragadvesham comes from. That is why in a very deeper level, kartrutva bhoktrutam is the problem. You may think that I am not doing anything, but inside it is not so. You are still doing it, you still have the result behind, the motive behind it. To operate in that level is very, very, very difficult. So when ahangaram becomes ahambodham or awareness, so at that time the burning goes away from inside. It becomes sweeter. So what does that mean? That means that if that ahangaram doesn't wake up inside, that's staying. So when ahangaram comes out in a person, it will cover ahambodham. It will cover ahambodham. Just like from the sunlight. So from the sunlight has come, and what happens? From the sunlight has come the what do we call that? Vapor form. It comes, isn't it? And then it turns into clouds. Water from the sunlight, it turns into vapor and it forms clouds. Similarly, from the soul, false ego comes and it covers that ahangaram, actually, that covers the ahambodham. Alma, awareness of the soul, is ahambodham. So ahambodham is covered by ahangaram. And ahangaram, so just like between the clouds you see the sun. The clouds is similarly, one vigaram comes or one emotion comes, it goes, and the next one comes. In between there is a gap. So in that gap, we all have experience of the self, ahambodham. Between two thoughts related to ahangaram, one comes and goes away, the next one comes. In between this this experience of the ahambodham is there. Because suppose if you don't have it, you won't be able to live in this world. That is the truth. we are able to carry on like this? Because now and then between all the thought waves, imagine continuously you have anger, lust, greed coming through. This is the proof of that. We are able to live in this world in spite of all that thing coming through, because in between constantly there is an interruption from Aham. Ahangaram thoughts are passing through all the time. Different emotions, Vigaram they are called, and also different thought waves. They are all coming through. It's not a continuous process. In between there is a breakthrough all the time. There is a gap. And there Alma, Bodham is just a ray comes through that. And because of that, we are able to live in this world. Otherwise, this package won't work. It won't work properly. It will fail. It cannot exist in that way. So, you can see this. I'll give you an example. If you think about it, how it makes sense. That Almanham, the experience of the soul, if it is not there, life is not possible. The proof of that is, you can see, no matter how big the distress you have in life, suppose you got someone who is very close to you, left the world, died, say father, mother, brother, sister, or your own children, they died. And you can see after a while the distress goes away. The distress goes away. And life goes on as before, isn't it? Sometimes when the husband dies, the wife may cry for a while. She sees that everything has become there's no more point in living and all that. She will cry like that. For about a month or two sometimes, if it's too intense. But after that, what do you see? She takes the mirror and then starts combing the hair and putting the silk and beautifying starts again the same body. So why is that? Why does that happen? You can't hold on to that. And if you want to bring back that distress again, you can't get it back. That was only there for that short period of time. Anything, that is only one example I'm saying. Any distress if you take in this world, it's like that. It's like that. It will last for some time and then it's gone. And then it's gone. The reason is this, that nothing can stay permanent. Any emotion, if you remember this, any emotions that you cannot hold on permanently. You cannot hold on to them permanently. Why is that? Because it is asatha. That's the reason. It's all asatha. And none of them will stay. Even in the so-called bhakti what we exhibit sometimes, that also won't stay. It will stay for some time and then it will be gone. Bhakti will be gone. So the important thing is that any avastha or any state which is dependent on any vigaram. Vigaram means emotions. Bhakti is also an emotion in that sense. In the way normally it is understood as an emotion, isn't it? It's one of the activities in the mind. So anything that is dependent on the emotions cannot stay. Cannot stay. Then what is permanent there? Permanent there is, what it is there is that behind all these emotions, giving life to all these emotions, there is a vastu. And that is permanent. That is Ahambodham. That is permanent. So, important thing is, till we come to understand that Ahambodham is so important compared to Ahangaram. Ahangaram is doing conducting all the Vyavaharam in this world. Ahambodham is only a witness to it. At the same time, Ahangaram can only function in the presence of Ahambodham. Only perform in the presence of Ahambodham alone, it can function. So when you start seeing that vastu, behind that ahangaram or the emotion, that is nirvigaram. There is no vigaram in that vastu. And that is why you see this is explained there. Vedaswami makes it very clear that how does that work. If you look into the verse, 125, verse 125, it mentions there. Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyam alambanam. Aham pratyam alambanam. Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyam alambanam. Avasthatrayam sakshi sat panchakoshami lakshana. Then Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya alanganam. Avastatraya sakshi san panchakoshadi lakshana. It means that there is some absolute entity behind, which is the substratum, or which is the basis on which egoism or false ego, the weakness of the three states, and distinct from the 5 sheets of coverings. 5 sheets of covering. The 5 sheets of covering are the Annamayam, Pranamayam, Vijnanamayam, Anandamayam, all that. So that is present there. It says there that Avastatraya Sakshi is Sakshi also, is a witness of the 3 states of existence. In other words, Avastatraya, they come and go, isn't it? Avastatraya means what? Jagrat, Swapnam, Sushupti. These 3 states are called Avastatraya. They are Avastha. They are Avastha. So Avastatraya means that these 3 states of existence, Jagrat, Swapnam, Sushupti, they come and they go. They come and go. And similarly, anger comes and goes. Lust comes and grows. And all other emotions, similar emotions, greed and so on, other things also. So this anger is a scene that has come on the screen behind. The screen is there, ahambodham. In there, it's an emotion that says a vikaram has come, and it's a scene that has come in that screen, on the screen. Similarly, lust also, and similarly, bhakti also. They are all coming and they are all going. So, but none of them has touched the screen. None of them has touched the screen. Similarly, you can see here that this awareness, I am existing, and which is our adhishthana. Adhishthana means the screen behind, and nothing is touching that. Nothing is touching that. It comes to the front and then goes away. And it cannot stay, because as I gave the example, it cannot stay. The great instinct is just like we talk about distress now. Take the greatest happiness also. Suppose you won a big lottery or something, 20 million pounds or 100 million pounds, something like that. It won't last very long. It will be there straight. First you will get a shock. And then for a few days you will be thinking about it. And then for a few months you will be planning what to do with it. After that, what happens? The body and its problems comes back again. So money cannot help you there, isn't it? So you start becoming more reality oriented, and that happiness what you have got. And if you are a little bit philosophically minded, you will realize that all this is all useless at the end. Nothing is going to help me. My body is going to go one day, and then understanding will come. So here, adhishtanam, pure prajna, that is also which has to experience to the nirvikalpam state. That means there is no vikalpam coming through. These words, there is no substitute for that. You have to use the same word. Vikalpam means this thought waves that's coming through one after the other. And they come through that, and the ahambodham inside, like the sky, it is staying clear and pure all the time. And that's the reason why we say Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarupa, because of that. So what do we have to do at that time? We have to, in that situations. So every time an emotion is coming inside, we should know that behind that emotion, it's me. Slowly, instead of identifying with the emotion, normally what do? We identify with the emotion. Instead, if you start identifying with the awareness behind, aham bodham, then what will happen is that little by little you start recognizing his presence inside. Particularly when emotion is coming. In normal state, only chittavati, more powerful than the Chittavati are the emotions. When Chittavati, because it is mixed all the time. Chittavati, because they come and they go, but emotions are powerful. It is when you have to catch him when there are emotions. It is at that time it's easier to move away from the emotions and go to this awareness. It's a very important process in the Jnana Margam to go in this direction. Because otherwise, simply being played by the emotions whole life is no good. It's not a good situation. All the time being played by the emotions. Sometimes you get angry, sometimes you get miserable, and this is a constant thing what will come throughout life. It's not going to leave you anything. It will be there till the last breath. It will come and go. So the only way is this, that it will come and it will stay, just like the cloud is covering the sun. In the same way, it will come and stay for some time. After a while it will go. On the other hand, what happens when you start identifying with that vastu inside? It is called Sparshahinam. That's the word in the Bhagavad Gita. Sparshahinam means, sparsha means to touch. Sparshahinam means that cannot be touched. That cannot be touched. You cannot touch it. That is the nature of that vastu inside, aham. You cannot touch that. So that vastu is not touched. It cannot be touched by anything. If you know that nothing can touch that, then Krishna is saying he will get, I'll come to that verse, Krishna is saying that he will get the greatest happiness if he can stay in this state. Krishna mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita. Anandam, he says the sukham that comes from that is unlimited. Krishna says that it is unlimited if you stay untouched by these emotions that's coming through. So Raga Dvesham will come. Raga and Dvesham, Krishna mentions that in the second chapter, isn't it? Raga Dvesham. So Raga and Dvesham will come and will come and go. It won't touch. It won't touch. That is why he says Raga Dvesha Vinuktais to Vishaya Indriyais Charan. In a yogi or a jnani or a person who is in realized state, he will see that Ragam and Dvesham is done by Vishaya Indriyais Charan. Vishayam, sense objects and senses, it is between them this goes on. Nothing to do with me. He realizes that at that point. So, Spurtim Sada Bhavayam. Manisha Vachanam. Ajay also says the same thing. Spurtim Sada Bhavayam, he says. That's Spurti. Spurti means, that's the word in the Bhagavatam also. The word used is Spurti. Spurti means, he keeps coming in between the, say, Kam Bhase Pihidaka Mandala Spurtim Sada Bhavayam Yogi Narvrutamanasohi Guruvrityesha Manisha. That's from the Manisha Panchakam, 5 verses. Kam Bhase Pihidaka Mandala Spurtim Sada Bhavayam. That Akamandala means the sun. From the sun, the rays are coming and the clouds are coming through, but sun is still coming through between the clouds. Similarly, Spurti, and that coming, the sun rays coming through between the clouds is called Spurti. That's the word Spurti. And that Spurti inside us also in the same way. Between the different emotions also, he comes out through the Ahambodham, comes out. And therefore, Spurti, not only all the time, Spurtim Sada Bhavayam. And that yogi who takes note of that is Nuruvruta Manaso. He is in Nurvrati state. He Guruvrityesha Manisha Maha. That person who is realizing that he is in that state that between every two emotions, he will come out. He has to come out. And that state is called Nischala Avastha. What we saw in this verse, Salsangatve, Nisangatvam. Nisangatve, Nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve, Nischala Tattvam. That Nischala Tattvam stage is like that. And one who has started becoming a little reflective in the or spiritual inquiry, one who has begun, he will experience that because you can see that you will see how that works. Let's explain that first. Suppose a distress came in life, a heavy distress. Heavy distress has happened in life. As I mentioned before, a death of a very close person in life. You will cry, for example. Tears will come and you will, or you may go away from everything and sit alone and cry for some time. After you have cried for a while, you will find some peace. Where is that peace coming from? That's an important question to ask, isn't it? How come when we cry, when some distress happens, after a while you feel a peace inside? You can't cry also continuously, isn't it? You dry up after a while. So, the point to understand that is that when you have cried and a lot of that emotions have gone through, what has happened there, you will find an unusual peace coming inside. It happens to everybody, nobody can deny these things. And that shanti that is coming at that time, when you are experiencing at that time, that what is so that time, it is just like a good example, that after you can see now particularly that a lot of clouds build up and then suddenly it rains and the whole sky gets clear. It's exactly the same thing. The sky gets clear. So in the same way, and it purifies. So similarly, a lot of clouds come, then it rains and it goes away. Similarly, and then you look at the sky, it looks very clear and pure. The sky looks like that, isn't it? In the same way, when that shanti comes inside, all devotees have cried in their life. Prabhupada has cried in his life, and many other devotees have cried in their life too. Because they are crying, they have cried so much in their life. At some stage in life they have to go through that. Every devotee, if you look, you will see that they have, it was not a course for a seminar for them, life. Life is not a course of seminar. Life was all experience, their experiences in life. They have gone through that. And they have shown to us that this shanti, everybody experiences that at that time. And nobody can say they haven't had that. And that shanti did not come from doing sadhana. That shanti what you experienced at that time didn't come from sadhana, is it? It didn't come, you didn't do any sadhana. But shanti has come inside. So, nor did it come from kirtanam or bhajan or anything like that. Where did that come from? So, this thing, what we experienced there at that time, that, so for example, we can look at this way also. Suppose you have gone for a spiritual program for a while somewhere, some kirtan or for a Rathayatra or something like that. You wanted to participate in that program. You participated in all that, and for a few days you have enjoyed that, or a few hours or something like that, you have enjoyed that. After a while, with all the hustle and bustle of the Rathayatra or the program, what you were in, you feel that you want to go away and stay on your own, unaffected by all these things, isn't it? But in that, while you were in the program, you have experienced for a certain period of time some happiness. For a certain period of time, some happiness. But after a while, you want to go away and stay on your own. Because while you are away, when you leave everything and come back and stay on your own, somewhere you get some happiness from within. Just like when distress came, and after that you have cried and it has gone away, you felt a shanti inside. In the same way, when you have participated even in a spiritual program for some time, and you have experienced a certain happiness from that, then eventually you want to go back and stay on your own. Stay on your own. And at that time, you feel some happiness from within. Some happiness or everybody has experienced that. Either sometimes you may not have taken notice of it. But it does happen. It does happen. So, and where does that come from? That at that time you don't want to see anybody. You want to be situated within yourself. That is why in Sanskrit the word they use is swastham. Swastham means what? Swam stham. To stay within oneself. That's called swastham. Swastham is the word in Sanskrit, but swastham means to be situated within oneself. And this tendency is in everybody. Everybody has it. To go back to oneself at some point. You will enjoy everything, but after a while you want to go back to yourself. Isn't it? So that is the thing we are talking about. So that ananda, what you get when you are within yourself, right? And although you have experienced other happiness from the participation, that ananda, it is replaced with what is called nirvati. This is called nirvati. Nirvati and ananda difference is. Anandam is that when you have participated in a program, you got it from there. Anandam. But then when you go back, and when that comes from within, that is called nirvati. From within. Without any external thing, it came on its own from the soul and came to you. That's called nirvati. So nirvati comes there. So every emotion is like that. That it is a rule relating to any emotion. Any emotion, it is like that. That once that comes and goes away, some shanti comes from within. Some shanti comes from within. So for example, you got angry, and after a while the anger has gone away, then there is a shanti inside. Same thing with greed, lust, envy, and any such thing. There is shanti, comes from there. And that shanti did not come from outside, it came from inside. Only in front of that shanti, all these things are going on. Which one? Different emotions, different thought waves, everything is happening in front of those, shanti that is happening. So now and then, when you give an opportunity, if the emotions give way, then that shanti will come out. That's what you are experiencing there. Whether distress or whether it's happiness from the outside world. If it has come, they come and they go. When they come and go, you always notice the shanti coming from inside. So what's happening there is that between two emotions, one they come and go and the next one comes, the shanti must come for a while. Shanti must come. So then what happens then is, and you can see this, the period of one vikara or one emotion has gone, come and gone, you see the shanti which is nirvikara. Nirvikara means there is no emotional involvement in that. Emotion is not there. It is nirvikara. Nirvikara means no emotions. And shanti's nature is there is no vikara. It's nirvikara nature. That is shanti. Shanti state means no vikara there. What do we do? Then what happens is, due to our karma vasana inside, we have karma vasana, isn't it? We all have vasana. Vasana means the propensity or impressions inside due to engaging in karma. That karma vasana will go and break it. If there is shanti comes, karma vasana goes and break that shanti. We all do the same thing. Immediately when there is some peace comes in, we think immediately, karma from inside is pushing. Karma says, oh, there's nothing for me to do now. I mean, the bottle from there, straight away. And we'll find something to do at that time. That is the problem we create to ourselves. That is not our problem. This is why Krishna is saying that if you engage in karma, don't increase this karma vasana. Because even if you get shanti and karma vasana cannot go together. If you get that state of shanti, if you want to retain that shanti, the karma vasana inside must go. All the time this is what happens. Sometimes you can see this in life. By Krishna's mercy or grace, you got some shanti. Somehow you got some shanti, imagine that. But you won't let that shanti stay. You will straight away get up and make plans. Why? Inside that karma vasana is pushing. Oh, you haven't done this, you didn't go there, they'll phone you up now, and what have you done about this, what have you done about that, and there will be somebody around you to ask you why you have not done this. So you jump into action straight away, and then the whole business. So karma vasana breaks that shanti at that time. Karma vasana is the one that breaks. That's why when Krishna talked about karma yoga, he connected it very closely with karma vasana and the shanti altogether, isn't it? In the second chapter, when he talks about karma vasana and shanti, you can see here, Prajabhadi yada kaman sarvan partha manohadan, he says. Because that kaman, he is referring to this karma vasana. Karma vasana comes out in the form of desire, kama. Sarvan partha, unless you wipe that off, Krishna is saying, El prasada param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. It is not possible to reach that state of peace. It's not possible. Krishna is saying. And that is the state everybody is aspiring for. That shanti inside. Jnani, yogi, devotee, or anybody, all of the transcendentalists, they all want that state of shanti inside. That is what we are looking for. But we want, with the shanti, we want a lot of karma as well to go. And that is why the whole problem is. That's why 30, 40 years we have practiced spiritual life. And after that also we are saying what has happened now. Because the stock is building up inside, that vasana, karma vasana. That's where the problem is coming from. So, therefore, and that is why Krishna says here, if you look at the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse there, Shanai Shanai Varame, he says, 25, chapter 625. It's one of the important verses because Shanai Shanai Varame Buddhya Buddhigrihitaya Atma Samstam Manakratva Na Kinchin Avichintaye. Did you see that verse? Krishna said, Shanai Shanai Uparame. Uparamam must come Shanai Shanai. Shanai Shanai Uparame. Gradually, step by step, with full conviction, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Should think of. That is the state of that Shanti. Krishna is talking about the state of Shanti. Now here, Atma Samstam Manakristva. From there you can understand many things. That third line, Atma Samstam Manakristva. Atma Samstam means what? Be situated in the self. Now, Manakristva. What happens at that time? Practically there will be no mind. That is the reality. Mind is gone. But Krishna has used the word Manakrita because you know mind and Alma cannot work together. They cannot work together. Mind is constantly thought waves from one to another, one to another. It has the 3 states of Vikalpam, Kashayam, and the changes that's happening through that. Or sleep, layer. Vikalpam, Kashayam, layer. 3 states are for the mind. One day the Vikalpam has to come all the time. Thought waves has to come through all the time, isn't it? If you are not thought waves coming through, what will happen? You will go into Kashayam state. Kashayam means a kind of a morose state. That's the nature of the mind. Moroseness, isn't it? When thought waves are coming in abundance, then what happens? Then mind is very active. So if you observe this thing called mind, it works in these 3 states only. A lot of thought waves, which is called Vikalpam, that comes through. You are bombarded with thought waves, one after the other. So one is that state. When you are, say you are working in an office or you are working at something you are doing very seriously, that time constantly these thought waves are going through. Say you are working in an office. The office activity will be continuously in your mind, isn't it? It's going through one after the other inside. That's one state. When you are engaged in activity. The other second thing is Kashaya Sthiti. Kashaya Sthiti means, so you're sitting at home and there's nothing to do, you're bored. That's it. Boredom. Kashaya, it's called Kashaya Sthiti. You don't know what to do, there's nothing interesting. And you're looking this side, that side, is there anything I can do? Nothing is finding interesting. And in a state of a morose nature, Kashaya Sthiti. The third state is Laya. Laya means it doesn't find anything interesting to do, and it is also fed up with this Kashaya, so it goes to sleep. Mind takes that attitude, goes to sleep. And that's what it is called a Laya. We can call Kashaya, Laya, 3 states. It's only this. Now, mind can only say this. Once it has got Alpa Samstam Manakratva. When you come to that identification with the soul, that means here, of course, translator should be fixed on the self alone, it says. Alpa Samstam Manakratva. Directly can only translate it like that. But Alpa Samstam means that you have completely blocked all these things. Which one? Neither you have thought waves, nor you have this Kashaya Sthiti, nor there is Layam. You are still awake and you are fully absorbed in the soul. Identification with the soul. Which has happened after pursuing the spiritual path for some time. That will happen to anybody. Which I am saying here in the yoga process this is. And it will not happen overnight. That's why he is saying Shanai Shanai Uparame. He says, the beginning, isn't it? Little by little. Try this, he says. Little by little, gradually, step by step, he says, and with full conviction of this process what we talked about. If you do that, one should become situated in trance. These are words. Situated in trance means situated in the self. That's what it means. By means of intelligence. And thus, Shanesha Buddhya Buddhi Grihidaya. Now this buddhi is not this intelligence, it's Shraddha from inside. It's a spiritual intelligence, what they call it, spiritual intelligence, which means Shraddha. Word Shraddha closely follows this word spiritual intelligence. It is Shraddha inside a person. Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manakratva Na Kichit Abhichintayena. And then he is saying, Krishna is saying there, Na Kichit Abhichintayena. After that, no more thought waves should come. That's what the Chinta, word Chinta is there. Na Kinjit Abhichintayena. No more thought waves should come inside. Because then it will break that Shanti inside. Krishna is saying it will break that Shanti inside. Shanai Shanai Uvarame Buddhya Buddhi Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manakratva Na Kinchit Abhichintayena. That's Krishna's verse. Very important verse that is. Everybody will see people saying this. That Shanai Shanai Uvarame Buddhya Buddhi Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manakratva Na Kinchit Abhichintayena. After that, Chinta should not come anymore. So, why Krishna said like that? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Why did Krishna say that? When you get that state, you stay in that state. That is Krishna's point. You stay in that state. Because you got that state not from outside. You got it from inside. That's the reason. You got that state from inside, not from outside. It has come from the soul, that Shanti. When you have stopped all the thought waves, has Shanai Shanai, little by little, that you got a state, Krishna says here, you have managed to escape from all the karma vasana. Karma vasana has come down. Because normally, we don't know how much karma vasana we have inside. When you see the subtlety of Bhagavad Gita, you will be absolutely shocked how powerful they were. Krishna is saying to us, through karma yoga, you have to get rid of all the karma vasana inside. It's only after that this is possible. The state. Through karma yoga, first karma vasana must go. Then another thing that helps to get rid of the karma vasana is when you execute karma yoga, what happens? When you execute karma yoga, it does two things. First thing, it exhausts the vasana what is already inside. It does not allow any more new vasanas to develop. Two things happen. One, it it exhausts all the vasana what is already there, and secondly, it doesn't create any new more fresh vasanas inside. Vasana means impressions inside. So, therefore, Krishna is saying, this process of karma yoga, otherwise you can't imagine Krishna spent 6 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita to talk about karma. Is it not? And people don't take it seriously. They think this is all happen will naturally like this. It won't happen. There is a whole science behind it. Because this understanding is not there, all other religious processes can go only up to a certain limit and they stop there. They can't go further than that. They're finished there. They don't know the subtlety behind it. If you want, you can look into YouTube. There is a discussion between the Archbishop of Canterbury and also this famous, he's an atheist and he's a scientist as well, Richard Hawkins. There's 2 people, Hawkins and Dawkins. Dawkins, I think it's the one who is in the wheelchair, who is sick. The other person, who is traveling all around the world, is a professor at the Oxford University. And he's a professor and he's well known. He goes all over the world and there is discussions, he discusses and he proves that God doesn't exist. That's his, he's convinced about that because he is so committed to the science. He feels that science is the answer for everything and he supports this Darwin theory to an extent as well. So there is a discussion between that Richard Hawkins and the Archbishop of Canterbury, and also there is a mediator in between them, who, like a moderator, they call that, isn't it? So 3 of them, and it's an 1.5 hour program. You can watch that program on the YouTube, it's there. Look at the discussion what happens there between the Archbishop and them. So from the science point of view, he's asking these questions. And Archbishop is answering them from the Bible point of view, from the biblical point of view, he's answering them. But you can see that the discussion is coming to a stop at some point. Why? Because loss of karma is not there in their analysis. Karma is not taken into account at all. And they are always stuck there. They can't go further than that. Krishna is telling us that the very beginning when one comes to understand the soul, the first thing is, this thing called karma should be sorted. It's one of the most powerful elements in this world after Krishna. If you leave Krishna behind, Krishna means the soul behind, leaving behind that, the next most powerful force in this world is karma. The power of that karma inside, that urge in everybody to act. Where is that force coming from? And that force has created so much vasanas or impressions inside. Everyone is pushed by that urge inside. And you can see yogis, jnanis, all the Mahalpas, great personalities, they all manage to escape from the urge that's coming from inside. That force, isn't it? So when you look at it, you can see here that this Shanti what you have got, basically what it is telling us that you have to large extent you have escaped from karma. Karma vasana has died a lot inside. When they are very powerful and strong inside, you won't be able to do anything. You will be just busy. Why is it like that? The answer is there at the Bhagavatam. Rajodhiraha karmavadaha dukhe sukhamanina. That is the answer for that. Why there is strong karma vasana? Because of rajogunam inside. And when we were created, the human species, Brahma has these 3 modes of nature, is in 3 bottles. One bottle Satugunam, one bottle Rajogunam, one bottle Tamogunam, one bottle mode of goodness, one bottle mode of passion, and one bottle mode of ignorance. When they created, Brahma created human species in the creation, he took 1 drop from the mode of goodness, 2 drops from the mode of passion, and 1 drop from the mode of ignorance. So out of those 3, 2 drops are from the Rajogunam. Because of that, Bhagavatam says, Rajodigaha karma paraha. If we have more Rajoguna means what? Karma. That is why we are like this. That's why we are like this. Rajodigaha karma paraha. It has to be like that. That means something in us is telling, I have to do this, I have to do that. If I don't know this, who will do it? It has to be done. This is strong in every one of us, isn't it? We just cannot live in the situation that things will go on in this world if I do it or not. They won't accept that. I have to do it. I have to sort this out. Everybody is thinking like that. The leaders are thinking, and the followers are also thinking, everybody is busy with that. That is not very conducive for spiritual life. By doing, you don't get spiritual life. This is only one thing in the world which you will get not by not doing. Everything else you will get it by doing only. This requires internal world, a life inside completely. So, Rajodigaha, Bhagavatam says like this, Rajodigaha karma bhagaha. Once the Rajogunam has built up inside and already there is Rajogunam, to that if you have added more from the world, then what will happen? Karma bhagaha. You have no choice, you will be busy with karma. And then what is interesting about that is, Bhagavatam is asking this question, that by doing karma, all what we have got in this world is at the end distress only, not happiness. We may think that, and when distress comes, the Maya what it does is, dukkha sukhamadina. Even though what is coming is distress, Maya will say, oh, that's not bad, it's alright. When misery comes, again trying to accept it in a philosophical way. Then he sits on the chair and says philosophically, after all, this whole world is a place of happiness and distress, isn't it? Some kind of philosophization starts at that time. This is all coming from this Rajoguna. Sattva will not do this. When they created demigods, Brahma's creation was such, there were 2 drops from the Sattva bottle. That is why they are always in Sattva. They can see things better. They can understand things better. By birth itself they have knowledge. This is all the advantage of Sattva. So that is the way it is. So there is, and then there are other species where Tamogunam means 2 drops, like the snakes and that nature. And like Kaya said to Krishna, you gave me from the bottles when Brahma was making, you have taken 2 drops from the Tamogunam, what can I do? He said. Kaya says to Krishna. So that is the way creation is. And if you make it worse by not knowing the reality behind it, so Krishna is saying here, what you have got, na kinjit, that line is very important. Na kinjit abhichintaye, the last line. Once you have got it, you should retain it, not lose it again. By again breathing in, chinta, pause. Again messing it up. After God getting it. Don't mess it up, Krishna is saying. That's what that word means. Na kinjit abhichintaye. It's spoken in a very nice way, that's all. But what he's saying is don't mess it up again. That's all he's saying to us. So, because this thing has come not from outside. You got it by properly executing spiritual life like the way Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, in 1,000 names of Vishnu, one of the names of Krishna is Mahanidhi. Mahagato Mahanidhi. You see there, Mahanidhi, one word. Mahagartam, Mahanidhi is. Mahagartam means a very deep pit. He is. And there is a deep, big treasure there. That's it. In the Sahasranam, Vishnu Sahasranam from the Mahabharata Mantris, Bhishma Vidama is saying to Yudhishthira Maharaj, this Vishnu Sahasranam, is telling him to chant the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And there is famous bhashyam on that from Ajari Swamiji, which is a very famous commentary on the 1,000 names of Vishnu. He asked one of his disciples, there were a lot of 1,000 names, prayers. Shiva Sahasranamam is there, Vishnu Sahasranamam is there, then Lalita Sahasranamam is there. There are so many Sahasranamam, 1,000 names like that. He asked his disciple to bring the Sahasranam, 1,000 names of 1,000 names of Lalita Sahasranamam. Lalita Sahasranamam he told him to bring. He went inside and he could only find Vishnu Sahasranam and he gave it to him. And Acharya Swamiji said to him that you go and look for Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, he said, because that's what he wanted to write the bhashya about. When he went and looked inside, again he could find only a copy of Vishnu Sahasranam. So Acharya Swamiji took it that he wanted to write a commentary, and then he wrote the commentary on that 1,000 names of Vishnu, and that became very famous. That's why all Vishnu temples, including Tirupati and famous Vishnu temples, everywhere they chant the 1,000 names of Vishnu. Srirangam, all places. That's how 1,000 names of Vishnu is so famous. And the commentary on that 1,000 names of Vishnu is also very famous. It's also very famous. So, here, important thing is that one of the names in the Vishnu Sahasranam is Mahanidhi. Mahabhudam Mahanidhi, he says. Mahabhudam Mahanidhi. So, that Nidhi, treasure, Nidhi means treasure. Its nature is peace, Shanti, Anandam, and full satisfaction, perfection. And that you did not get by working, by doing anything. You don't get it by doing anything. So when we become a little bit reflective, a little progress in spiritual life, you start seeing things in a little different way. You start understanding that by putting a lot of effort and energy, it's not going to happen. When we come to spiritual life first time, that is our understanding, isn't it? We become very strict about everything first. And we make sure that the sadhana, what you have decided, you have done it very rigidly every day. And you try to follow all the rules and regulations very strongly. You won't associate with karmis. They are all, if you associate with them, you lose your spirituality. And some kind of thoughts develop like that strongly. In the beginning, it is like that with everybody. Especially the newly initiates, you will see this. If you meet them, you will immediately recognize that. Yes, just come. Like what happened to Chitraketu. You will notice that. It's not relaxed about anything. Very rigid about the rules and regulations and rigid about the sadhana and everything. And that, but at the same time, they will be busy with their karma also. But only after a long period of time, when you start seeing that a lot of work I have done, a lot of sadhana I have done, but it's still the same, where is it going? One day this thought will come to everybody. And that is when you start looking a little bit more deeper into it, the situation. People are thinking that it is like a machine operating whole life. 16 hours and 4 days and done with. That is not how spiritual life is. Spiritual life doesn't work like that. That's a misunderstanding. That's because of the ajnanam inside. There's a lot of ajnanam also inside, at the same time sadhana is also going on. So what will happen is, after a while, when you get a little bit more thoughtful, little bit more easy with things, you will start seeing things in a little different perspective. Meanwhile, if you are fortunate enough to read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you will start seeing things also that Krishna is saying, Shane, Shane, Rumarame, do it slowly, don't rush it. Then you start thinking, why Krishna is saying do it slowly, whereas they have told that you have to do it much faster. When Krishna is saying do it Shane, Shane, Rumarame, look, it's not going to come from outside, it has to come from inside. The Shanti, what you are looking for, has to come from inside, it's not going to come from outside. And Krishna is also saying, Na kinchid abhi chindaye. Once you get that, don't destroy it, don't take it away. So therefore, because it is like that, you will notice that you will start realizing, if that Shanti is coming, it cannot be from my effort. This understanding will slowly come. If Shanti is coming, it's not coming from my effort. Once you link everything with your effort, then it becomes business in spiritual life. It is business. That's why in Upanishads there is a very interesting statement. I think it is in the Chandogya. It says, Pariksha Logan Karma Chitam. It says, Nirvedamaya Akrita Kradena Tad Vijnanatham Sadguru Eva Abhigacche Shaman Pani Shrotriyam Karmanishtam. You can look at that word sometime. Pariksha Logan Karmachitan. How did they find out this, the rishis, the sages? They have experimented with all these things. They have also done a lot of karma before, the sages. They have done pariksha. Pariksha means experiment. They have done experiment with karma. That's what they have done. Experiment with karma. Pariksha Logan Karmachitan. Then what happened to them? This state comes, Nirvedam. Nirvedam means Vairagyan came. Nirvedamaya Agrita Kridena. They understood one thing, Nasti Agrita Kridena. Nasti Agrita Kridena. That means they understood one thing. By Kritam, you cannot get that Vastu which is Agritam. Vastu is Agritam. Self is Agritam. Soul is Agritam. And by Kritam, by doing anything, you can't get Agritam. That was their result of the experiment. Now, you can see, I just mentioned to you this discussion between this top great philosopher and the Archbishop and all that. Now, you can see from the way they are coming from. They have already accepted self as the body, and from there it's beginning everything. Now, karma-vasana inside such a powerful thing, which is creating that urge inside. They are not able to take that into account in their discussions at all. So, Nirvedamaya Agrita Kridena. Krishna is saying to us, first win over the karma-vasana inside. Nirvedamaya Agrita Kridena, because it is some things what you have to get. By Kritam, you can't get that Vastu which is Akritam, Because everything that is Kritam is limited. Parichinnam, that's the word in the Upanishads, and the Acharyas uses that as Parichinnam. Parichinnam means limited, it is. Therefore, what happens is, it's the same principle when you talk about it in the language of bhakti. We will say like this, only by Krishna's grace you can have it. That's what that means. In the process of knowledge, you will say like this. Which one? Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedamaya Agrita Kridena Tad Vijnanatam Sadguru Eva Abhigache. Therefore, for the sake of knowledge, one should approach a person who is self-realized, otherwise not. Tad Vijnanatam Sadguru Eva Abhigache. He should approach him with Shamit Pani, Shamit in the hand. Means in a humble state. And Shamit Pani. And that person whom you are approaching must be Shrotriyam. He must have studied the Vedam very well. And not only that, not studied alone, Brahmanishtam. He should be in that state. What Vedas are talking about. This is the Jnanamargam, it is the process. Same thing. When it comes to Bhakti language, what do we say? There we don't complicate with all these things. We simply say, if there is Krishna's grace, it will happen. Such thing is the same thing, but spoken in two different ways. That's all. Kripa we say, grace, isn't it? Grace. That grace is this. That karma-vasana has gone from inside, and you started realizing that it is not like something what you have to get by doing anything. To come to that stage is not easy. Even now, if you say something, people say, what should I do for that? How should I? That's the next question, isn't it? So here, the important point is here. When you say something is by Krishna's grace, what does that mean? That means this truth is something what you get free, not by working, but you get by free. In other words, if you work for it, you won't get it. That is the interesting side of it. It's a very difficult thing for most of the people to accept it, isn't it? Because within us this strong force, urge is there. By working I have to get it. But this is one thing which you won't get if you work for it. Yeah, that's what Kripa means, grace means, isn't it? And if you get it free without your effort, it will be perfect. It will be perfect. And because it's natural, it's coming to us, it will be perfect. And whereas, whatever you get by your work, by your effort, it will go. It has to go, that's the law. Anything you get by effort, it has to go. These are all very subtle things, you have to give time and analyze it in your own way. Because here, normally all our effort is for what? What purpose is that? Purpose is that our attention or Shraddha should go to the Swarupam, isn't it? Our Swarupam, it has to go into the Swarupam. Swarupam means attention on the soul, isn't it? And that means attention of my own existence or awareness of my own existence. Because that is the only reality. If you study Shastram, you will know one day that the only reality within the whole thing is that soul inside, Aham Bodham, isn't it? So, why is the only reality? The remaining things are all not anubhavam. It's not experience, isn't it? It's all perception. Body is a perception. Mind is a perception. Intelligence is perception. Ego is all perception. So, this nature of experience, when you say anything you have experienced, that if it is experience, it can only happen in relationship with the soul. Everything else is perception. Jadam has no experience. You see, Jadam, for example, this body, it has no experience. Jadam cannot have any experience. For example, if I am seeing you all here in the class, and is that not experience? If you ask, no, it is drishyam. I am seeing that. It is not experience. What is the reason? You have to understand the definition of experience, what it means, anubhavam. Anubhavam means, what is experience? Vedantam, experience means, without the help of anything, if something stays inside, and that is what is known as experience. That anubhavam or experience means, in Vedantam, without the help of anything else, what stays inside. And that alone, can you call it as experience. Only then you can call it as experience. Everything else, they put under the classification as what they call in Shastram is pratiti. Pratiti, in English you can say pratiti is perception. And experience is anubhavam. Anubhavam is experience. Anubhavam is experience. So suppose you have a pratiti, anything, for example, if you take like this, without the help of senses, without the help of mind, and without the help of anything else, if you experience something, without the help of the mind, without the help of the senses, then you may ask the question, without the help of the senses I can't know anything. You will say like that, isn't it? It is only through the senses we come to know everything. You may ask that question. For example, seeing, hearing, then smelling, tasting, touching, all of them, and including my body, all of them you cannot say whether it exists or not, because they are not in the anubhavam. They are not in the anubhavam. Because including this body is not anubhavam. Is not anubhavam. Now, there is a small thing to remember here. Suppose some experience is coming, some perception is happening. Some perception is happening. And from that perception, if you have without that, when that thing goes away, perception goes away, and it remains inside, if it is able to stay within, then you can call it as anubhava. For example, some things, when you are seeing it, you are experiencing it. You feel it, you are experiencing it. Basically, it is perceiving, you are perceiving that. But it is sometimes difficult to break up the two, perception and experience. But what Vedanta says is, suppose you are having some perception, you are seeing something or you are hearing something, and simultaneously, if anubhavam is happening inside, once that stops, the anubhavam goes, isn't it? And therefore, it is not anubhavam. It's not anubhavam. That means, without the help of the senses, without the help of the mind, that experience should stay inside. Only then it is called anubhavam, experience. Otherwise, it is a perception. It is a perception. So, including this body, you cannot say, because it's not in the anubhavam, whether it exists or not, without the senses you can't say this. The experience of this body. That is correct. Why? Because at the moment we are identifying with the body. That is why we feel the body is there. Suppose you are not identifying with the body, you are free from this body, then this body has no connection with you, like in the case of a liberated person. He hasn't got the body with him. Body is there, but he is not identifying with it anymore, isn't it? So, therefore, body itself is not an anubhavam, it's not an experience. How will you prove that? Proof is there. For example, how this bodily identity is a very powerful thing. Very, very powerful thing, isn't it? Very difficult to come out of it. You think about it, all looks correct, but unable to come out of it. So, for example, somebody has got his leg amputated, and he went to sleep, deep sleep he is. And in the deep sleep, the telephone rang. He got up and went to the phone, thinking he is not conscious at that time that the leg is amputated. He fell. What does that show? It's showing to us that whole body, existence of this body, is only in our memory. If it is deeply there, it's there. If it has gone away from inside, it's gone. Body has gone. And therefore, when the hand is broken or leg is broken, and if it is amputated, although because it has been amputated and still not registered inside permanently, it's not registered. When it happens, say for example you lost a leg or a hand in a war, you brought him to the hospital, a young man, and he had been treated and he had deep sleep, everything. He was in a deep sleep and the telephone was there rang. Suddenly he won't be conscious of that broken leg or broken arm. He will straight away get up and want to take the phone, and then he realizes that, oh, my leg has gone, that has been amputated. At that time he can understand that in his anubhava, in his experience, it's not there. In his perception, yes, but in his experience, no. That experience, that broken leg has gone, is not come to the experience yet. It's come to the experience. Then it takes a while for him to get that into experience. After a long time living like this without a leg, when he started, it becomes then whole his bodily activities will become like that with one leg, and then it becomes so deeply engrossed in that, and it slowly becomes a experience inside. Turns out that's it. But still, even in spite of all that, when he goes into deep sleep and when he wakes up suddenly, the missing leg has not been registered there yet. Missing leg is not registered there yet. So that is the important thing to remember. So similarly, you can see one leg has gone, and only when he wants to use that, that is when you come to know that it exists. Only when he wants to use that leg. Only when he comes to know that there is a thing called leg and he wants to use it. So otherwise, if he is sitting quietly in the living room and doing nothing, he won't be conscious of that missing leg at that time. Won't be conscious of that. So similarly, I don't have a body. I don't have a body. So, in the same way, only when I start trying to use the body, I come to know that the body exists. Body exists. That this understanding, I know it is very difficult because we are so gross in our inside that we are so deeply absorbed in the body. Therefore, somebody says to you that body doesn't exist, you will immediately say, oh well, this philosophy is something wrong with it. You may say like that. But that's another thing. Therefore, different kinds of philosophy for different level of people. People who are very gross, for them, they need philosophy also is to be like that. And people who can see things in a subtle, in a more intellectual understanding or deeper understanding of things in a subtle level, they can see things in a different way. That's why we have to explain all these things now for people to understand. Because otherwise, if you tell an ordinary person that you don't have a body, what will he say? He will say to us, or you can say this to somebody else, not to me. And because identification is so strong inside. But when you come out of that identification, but if you think about it, you can see independently, when you are completely in a understanding of the soul, in the bodham, if you have that awareness, there is no body. In the awareness, there is no body. Awareness is Nitya Shuddha Bodha Mukta Swarupam. That is all what we have. Aham, that awareness is all is our Aham Bodham. That's all what we have. That is why very specifically the Vedanta is telling us that if you have a bodham, our bodham inside consciousness, there is no body there. Body cannot have consciousness. When there is consciousness, there is no body, and when there is body, there is no consciousness. There is body, there is no consciousness. So only there is one anubhavam. What is that? I am existing, awareness. That's the only reality in the whole thing. If you have not got it, or if you are still finding difficulty to come to terms with that understanding, you must give some time and think about it, that this awareness, how independent that is from the rest, everything else. We have discussed many things about awareness, isn't it? About this bodham, awareness, our bodham. And Shastra is repeatedly forcing this understanding. Brahman is Anandam and Avabodham. Anandam and Avabodham are the two features of Brahma. Why does they say like that? I mean, Rishis would not have pushed it like this if they haven't had that complete realization of that. If there was any chance of any other thing inside there, that they would not have spoken so strongly about it and so much discussion about our world. It's only because of this that from our gross state at the moment, we are in a very gross state, isn't it? Why? Because of our mind, intelligence, ego, and the constant chittavritti that's coming through, and all the emotions that's going through, ragam, dvesham, all these things are inside us. Because of that, we are very, very close at the moment. The Rishis are telling us, in their most subtle level, they are telling us, body doesn't exist, mind doesn't exist, intelligence doesn't exist. And we find that very difficult to experience that. That is why we have this problem. We want something, Rishi should tell us, which I can analyze with my mind and intelligence and make sure it's okay. It suits my mind. It suits my intelligence. Then we say, this philosophy suits me. We'll say like that. But that is no use. That is no use. That will keep you where you are. It won't take you further from there. If you want to move further, then you have to take the knowledge from those people who have gone far, very far, isn't it? That's why Upanishad's knowledge and the Srila Brahmarshi statements in the Bhagavatam, you can see how Srila Brahmarshi himself, with respect to Parikshit, initially he discussed a lot of other things. But as he gets closer to death, particularly Ekadashi Skandha is very subtle level things were spoken. And when he came to 12th canto, he didn't waste any time anymore, directly put the message in. Because he knew by now, hearing Ekadasham and everything, Parikshit would have come to that state that he is ready for it, to receive. So you also have to take into account people's different state of mind. State of mind. Those who are very bought, very closely absorbed in the body, Prabhupada said, give them prasadam. You have to begin with something, isn't it? But if you remain the whole life in the level of prasadam, it's no good, is it? So, but not to discourage them. Not to discourage them. They should not be discouraged because one day they will also come to the higher understanding. Prasadam is not spoken in an offensive way. Don't misunderstand it that way. But ultimately, the knowledge is necessary. You can't write it all. Without knowledge, it's not going to happen. No matter what you do upside down, whether you are a devotee, karmi, because if you look into Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying again and again, Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakta Vishishyate. There's a verse there, isn't it? Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakta Vishishyate. Somewhere in the fourth or fifth, I don't know. So Krishna is saying, ultimately, it is that person dear to me. Why? Because he has understood the truth, reality. Sense. Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakta Vishishyate. Priyohi, what is that? Priyohi Jnani Sense. Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakta Vishishyate. Aham Sacha Maham Priya. So, that's that. Then, he says, of this, the wise one who is in full knowledge in union with me through pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. So, through, he is referring to Jnana there. Yasham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakta Vishishyate. He is the best devotee. Who? A Jnani. Jnani is the best devotee. Krishna is saying that. Why is he saying that? Because Krishna gives the value to that Jnana there. That realization, isn't it? And then in the next verse also, he repeats the same thing. Udara sarva eva ide jnani tvalneva me madham astida sahiyukta alma mameva tamam gedi. Verse 18. Udara sarva eva ide. He says, all of them are magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge, I consider he is me, no different from me. We engage in a service against him. Asira Sahitharma Mameva Uttamam Gadim. Asira Sahitharma Mameva Uttamam Gadim. So you can see Krishna has spoken this very bluntly in the Bhagavad Gita. This is not only true, there are many other places also. You will see the same thing. So one thing you can understand that awareness, everybody has it, isn't it? I exist, my awareness is already there. So ahamasmi. It is only that one thing where there is no doubt. In everything else we have doubt. Suppose I tell you about God. You may have a doubt, God exists or not. You have every right, everybody has a right to ask that question, God exists or not. One party will say, God doesn't exist. He has got proof. Another party says, God exists. He also got his own proof. So whom do you trust or to disturb? Like all these discussions, what I'm saying is that in the, just I'm saying only for to give you an understanding of the Bhagavad Gita's beauty. If you listen to some of these conversations, it makes you understand where this whole so-called great world outside, where there are so many great personalities with big positions, their philosophical understanding of the truth, how different it is from Bhagavad Gita. And they haven't understood Bhagavad Gita properly. That's the only way I can think about it. Or they could not understand that this message what has come through Bhagavad Gita, that they could not give attention to. Whatever reasons, I don't know what that is. In Bhagavad Gita's language, if you say it is avidya. But from their point of view, it may be wrong to say that, because that when Bhagavad Gita has been read and understood by personalities like you see Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita, and he has given certain Western philosophers. For example, he talks about few personalities there, isn't it? Who are they? Thinkers and philosophers mentions who has read Bhagavad Gita. Emerson, then a German philosopher, Thoreau, somebody like that. And few names he has mentioned there. Somewhere in the books you'll see at the last at the end. Yeah, that's right. He mentions here, these are the personalities who have reviewed the Bhagavad Gita. But he mentions in another book somewhere, at the end of something, in a cover you will see, those persons who have read Bhagavad Gita. That includes Einstein. Yeah, there are some names as well. Yeah, that's right. Who are they? Emerson, then Henry David Thoreau, and then Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Leave Gandhi because people will say Gandhi is a Hindu, so he has read Bhagavad Gita. That's another thing. But leaving behind that, even Western philosophers like Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, and also there is statements on the Bhagavad Gita print edition, the statements from Einstein and personalities Schopenhauer and Kant, Nietzsche, Hegel. So famous philosophers in the Western world, they have got some understanding of Bhagavad Gita. I won't say complete understanding, because if you have got complete understanding, it's very difficult to leave that book behind. There is no question about that. I am not just glorified because I am attached to Bhagavad Gita, but that is the reason why, although Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the Mahabharata, all Acharyas picked Bhagavad Gita from Mahabharata and took it with Vedanta Sutra and Upanishads in the same level. Because of the truth that has been spoken in that, in such a deeper level. So when you can see here that God exists or not, we may have disagreement on that. We may have exists or not. You can argue one way or the other, basically. And one person will try, God is existing, and another person will try to prove that God doesn't exist. In that conversation also, that's what I noticed between the Archbishop and Professor Dawkins. Ultimately, no conclusion at all. God exists or not. So that was the argument whole time. And similarly, there was also discussion, you will notice there, constantly this is going on, especially in the modern world. Now there is so much endeavor to get peace. Why? Because people have all realized now that United Nations is not going to bring in peace. Everybody is convinced on that. Those who are running the United Nations also know peace is not going to come through United Nations. So having realized all of them, and so much distress is going on, war and fighting going on all over the world, people are feeling the need for it. They just don't know what is around the corner waiting. Something is going to happen, they know, and when they see this, in this modern world, so-called modern world, brutal killings going on in a very massive scale, many people are thinking, what is the way out? They don't know what the way is out. Talking and all is not helping, nobody is listening and all. So there is effort from philosophers and from spiritual leaders to bring some peace into this world. They feel they have that responsibility. Many of them feel, including Archbishop also feels the same thing, but they don't know what's the way forward. So that's why. So therefore what happens? Between two religious groups are fighting each other. One person is saying Jesus is God. Another person is saying Allah is God. Somebody is saying Krishna is God. Somebody is saying Shiva is God. So all these things are subject to our acceptance. Somebody may accept Vishnu as God. Somebody accepts Shiva as God. And suppose you say, I am saying Vaikuntha is the ultimate destination. Somebody says, no. Kailasam is the ultimate destination. Or somebody says the heavenly planets is the goal, or Golokam is the goal. And all these things are subject to verification. Till you see it and get it, you don't know it, isn't it? You are making some statements sitting here. You haven't seen Vaikuntha, you have not seen Kailasam. You have not seen Golokam, you have not seen the heavenly planets. Nothing you have seen. You are here now. And based on our present state, you are making some conclusions on that. Similarly, God also, somebody saying Krishna is God, Vishnu is God, Shiva is God, all other statements also. We haven't seen Krishna yet. All proof what we have is what Shastra is telling us. But this one thing what Krishna has given to us is right in the hand, isn't it? This awareness. You can't take that away. That you are experiencing right now. Without any effort, you have it now already within your own hands. So you have to start from there. That's the only place you can start the whole thing. So, there nobody had any doubt about that awareness, existence, awareness. And that experience is, this awareness is your existence. Is your existence. You can only say you are existing based on this awareness. You can't say based on your body, can you? Based on your body, you can't say about your existence because you know very well this body is going. Based on your mind, you can't say because mind will go. Same thing with intelligence, ego and everything. If you ever say that you are existing, it has to be based on this awareness of aham inside. That is why Krishna mentions in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita is this, that he wants us to very clearly understand this point. Na sado vidyade bhavo, na bhavo vidyade sada, ubhayora viprishkvandam, svarayor tattvadarshi, he says. Tattvadarshi means one who has realized it. So, tattvadarshis are saying to us, separate this aham, bodham, awareness from the rest of everything. That is independent. And on the basis of that, all tattvadarshis are saying the awareness of existence, that nas asato vidyate. That is from that principle only that came, that asata nasato vidyate bhavaha. Asata has no bhavam and sat has no abhavam. That is, these are fundamentals in Krishna consciousness. If that should always be within us when we evaluate anything in this world. Sat has no abhavam, asat has no bhavam. That's all it is. Asat has no bhavam, sat has no abhavam. Just like yesterday we mentioned that Krishna mentions this, isn't it? That what did he say about Maya? Mama Maya, Jagateya. Don't try, don't work. Then what does he say about karma? Karma he says? Gahana karma kriti. This is all very fundamentals of spiritual life. If you don't take this into account and simply keep on banging the mridangam or drum, it's not going to bring the solution to the problem. Problem is that these three factors are working in everyone. Gahana karmano gani, mama maya jagateya, and similarly, nasado vidyate, bhava na bhava vidyate sada. Very fundamental truth of spiritual life that is. So when you take that into account, only then that anubhavam, that is anubhavam. That awareness is anubhavam. And if you start giving attention to that anubhavam, awareness, and if your attention becomes stronger in there, another kala of the soul. Kala means soul has two kala mentioned before, anandam and anubhavam. Anandam and avabodham. Isn't it? Anandam and avabodham. So avabodham is one kala. Kala, I don't know what the translation is. Kala means it is one of the, you can say, feature of the soul. Soul has two things, anandam and avabodham. So the first feature is this avabodham, awareness, aham inside, which is in our anubhav experience. Avabodham is in our experience, it is, isn't it? Now, when you have started giving attention to that avabodham, awareness, if the attention becomes very strong and become very fixed on that avabodham, the second feature, what is called the anandam, will start coming out from that. This is how realization is. The self-realization process. When your attention has become strongly on the aham, which is our bodham, if it gets stronger there, the other feature called anandam will start slowly flowing out from there. Only then it will happen. Only at that point it will happen. Normally that Anandam doesn't come out very easily till your attention, Shraddha falls on the Avabodha. That is the way it works. Sambranandavabodhalmakam Anupamidam Kaladeshavadibhyam Nirmuktam Nityamuktam Nigamashara Nirbhasyamanam Aspashtam Vrishtamatre Puna Gurupurushatarnagam Brahmatattvam Tattaval Bhadisachan Guru Pavanapure Handamaghyam Jananam. In the summary of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Melpatu sat in front of Krishna and spoke to Krishna like this. When he wrote Narayaniam, this is what he did. That what I am seeing here now is not Krishna, but Anandam and Avabodham. That is how he addressed Krishna. And when Anandam and Avabodham is there, you are above Desham and Kalam, time and space. You go beyond that. Interestingly, when Richard Hawkins and Archbishop was discussing, they were discussing about time and space as well. But from the scientific point of view, they are saying you can't go beyond time and space. And Archbishop was saying that there is possibility going there. So you can see when we have Bhagavatam and when we have other Upanishads and we have suppose if they give us a theory like that, it won't make any sense to us. We have got personalities mentioned there who have crossed beyond time and space. To support that point, and only then you can accept it, because otherwise it will remain as a theory only. But people who have transcended time and space and who have touched that Avabodham awareness and Anandam coming from that is pure state of spiritual consciousness. Only if you hear from such people who has reached that state, you will accept. Many people will find it easy to accept that. Otherwise it is not possible. We can discuss it for hours together, but it won't get us anywhere at the end. We will understand it. That is the way we should learn the Shastra. But the goal is defined by these things in this way. So, all Anandam is coming from that source. All the Anandam is coming from that source. Only things we don't know about it. Whenever you experience Anandam, that Anandam is coming from that source. At that point, that I am and my existence, all that is nothing but an experience inside, isn't it? But in order that, if you want to continuously experience that, Manisha is saying that Spurtim Sada Bhavayam. Continuously that Spurti has to happen. You have to catch that first, that Hamasmi, that awareness. So, now that we haven't got that within us, isn't it? That awareness is not there. Therefore, the only thing what we can do is to somehow turn that attention to that Aham Bodham. That it's also I am. It's also a kind of emotion inside that's coming with us, isn't it? So that it's a vigara, we call it, emotion. And that is also coming out as a spurti. That awareness I am is also an emotion inside us, but it's coming out as a spurti through the thing. So when you can, how do you know that awareness of I? Suppose somebody praised you. Then you can see a movement inside, a slight movement inside, a chalana happens inside. Or somebody insults you. Then also immediately you see a movement inside, isn't it? So what happens then? The mind takes different forms. There is only one. And that one is putting different clothes on. Like, I'll give you an example. Mind, when somebody praised you, for example, immediately you feel happy. And immediately after that, somebody cursed you or insulted you, then you feel disturbed. So at that point, the other one has given way for the new one. Which one? The happiness that has come from the praise, that is given away for the power of the effect of the curse, the emotion of curse that's come. Both of them cannot exist simultaneously. Yes, just give way to the next one. So, in that way you can see that mind has taken one form at 1 minute. When somebody praised you, it has taken that form. And mind has taken another form when somebody insulted you or cursed you. It has taken another form. So, actually, there is only, as we mentioned before, mathematics is only number one. And that one has taken the form of 2, and one takes the form of 3, and one takes the form of 4, and so on. But, in reality, there is only one. But it dresses up in different ways. Sometimes in the form of anger, sometimes in the form of greed, or lust, or envy, or whatever it is, it takes that form. So, similarly, in the mind also, there is only one thought. There is only one thought. That because you are thinking that there is a lot of thoughts coming inside the mind, isn't it? If you recognize it, that there are many thoughts coming through, you will never be able to get the thoughts under control. If you recognize it, you will not be able to get the thoughts under control. Because that means you are recognizing that the mind has got several states of existence. So, even if you recognize there are these 3 states, it is difficult to bring them under control. Which one? Jagrata, Sapna, Sushupti also. That in reality, mind has got only one state regarding what is that? I am. That's in the mind. So this I am, that emotion, that is the same one which dresses up in the form of anger, or with lust, or attachment, or anger, or envy. It's the same thing that's coming out in different forms at different times. That is how you have to understand the mind. Don't go to psychologists to ask him about it. They won't tell you this. But they will tell you some other understanding. They are using the mind, they are studying the mind. So what will they understand? How is it possible to understand the mind with the mind? Mind itself is a mess, complete. So that's why Jnanis, realized personalities, they are giving us a clue how to get over these problems with the mind. They are saying to us, don't get completely affected by the mind. Mind is dressing up different ways and coming out. And only if you take it like that, you will be able to come out of that influence of the mind. So, just like they give example, in the dhoti, it's all thread only. All threads joined together. This way and that way. Oda they call it. This one and that one, when they make the dhoti, that's how they do it, isn't it? Similarly, this understanding I am inside that, and that is why when will that come in our realization? Only when the emotions are strong. That's when they wake up. When it wakes up very strongly. For example, somebody has criticized you heavily. At that point, if you look inwards, you will notice that there is only one emotion. What was that? I am experiencing that in another form. And when it crosses a certain limit, externally you may do something you may do, it will come out. If it's more powerful, it will come out externally in some form when it becomes a very powerful emotion. So when that emotion becomes very powerful, it is at that stage thoughts develop. From that emotions, thoughts develop. And that is emotion and not thoughts. It is that emotion take the shape of thoughts then. It is the same emotion. Emotion becomes one at that time. So, in other words, that emotion which has come in the form of different thoughts is one. one emotion has come out in different thoughts. Came out in different thoughts. So, Prathama means the first point is that the form of that emotion, and which is I am. That's first emotion. And it takes another emotion form, anger or lust or greed or whatever it is. And it comes in the form of an emotion. And in that emotion, the thoughts develop. So initially, I am there. That Prathama Vikaram is called, first one. In there, from there came the emotions, Vikaram, other Vikaram of life, other kinds of Vikaram, anger, lust, greed and things like that. And in that emotions came out the thoughts. So therefore, what they say is, the I am, that thought is Prathama Vikaram. Prathama Vikaram is the first one, the first Vikaram. And from that first Vikaram, the other emotions have come, different Vikaram. Emotions are also called Vikaram. Vikaram is the word used in the Shastra. Vikaram is the one means which is changing, which is subject to change. So that thing has come, and from there other thoughts have come about. So emotion becomes one, and that takes a form, and it means it is another form of that Prathama Vikaram. Another form of that I am is these emotions and the thoughts that's coming from that. So, and that is what it is called Spurti. Spurti is called like that. At that time you can see one thing, that mind has got only one form, and that is that form Ahamasmi, that means so you will notice in the case of different Devatas, like for example in the Vedic tradition there are so many different Devatas is named. Say for example Ganesh, Saraswati and Shiva and many others also. If you look into their pictures, you will always notice they have chanting beads in their hand. Have you noticed? Saraswati, if you look, out of her 4 hands, one hand is book, other one is a flower, and the third one is a chanting beads. Saraswati has that. Ganesh has also got chanting beads. Shiva has a chanting bead. Why is that? What are they chanting? They are not, of course, like us chanting 16 rounds and 4. They are also chanting. What are they chanting then? So that even in them, that Aham Spurti is always there. Aham Spurti, that awareness is so perfect in them, that when they are in touch with that bottom awareness inside, that is called, in the spiritual language, it is called the Chin Mudra. Chin Mudra. You may have heard this. If you look into some of the pictures of Lord Shiva, you will see he is forming that form like this. The index finger, this finger, thumb, and this middle finger holding on to this like this. What does it mean? It's called a Chin Mudra. It's a mudra, but it is called a Chin Mudra. Well, the reason why it's called a Chin Mudra is that Chin Mudra is indicating to the bottom inside, that awareness inside. Now, this was a question that has been discussed between 2 famous sannyasis about it. There are so many mudras in the Yoga Shastra, which is in relationship with the self-realization, connecting each other. Tarka Mudra, Chin Mudra, there are many like that. So this Chin Mudra is Chideva Mudra, Chin Mudra. That's how it is defined like this. When one has a realization that the Chit Shakti is the force where everything is coming from, and when the yogi is situated in this mudra, it means that he is situated in that state. So when a yogi, in a yogic state, when he recognizes the presence of Chit Shakti inside, and when he is identified, Chit Swarupam, different words used, it's the same thing. Chit is the main thing. From Chit Shakti comes Chit Swarupam and Chin Mudra. That mudra is that awareness. That means Lord Shiva is always in that Chitsarupam of Chinmudra. That is why in all Lord Shiva's photos, if you look, you will see when he is in that transcendental state, like Dakshinamurti and all that, different forms. When he is in the yoga state, if you look at any of the photographs of Lord Shiva, you will see this Chinmudra, which means that in that Chinmudra he is actually in full consciousness of that, or in that abhang state. Because when Lord Shiva instructed the four Kumaras transcendental knowledge, the four Kumaras, I mentioned that story before, didn't I? So when they went to Lord Shiva has to take a special form to instruct them, because Kumaras won't accept any householder as a teacher. He went to Brahma. Brahma was comfortably situated in they are Brahma's children. Kumaras are Brahma's children. They went to Satyaloka, Brahma's planet. When they went there, they saw Brahma was sitting in his assembly with Saraswati Devi and they were enjoying the music and dance. So Kumaras spoke to each other. Kumara says, this is not the person we want any spiritual instructions from, who is so absorbed in the music and the dance going on there. They went to Lord Vishnu, and there the situation was not at all encouraging. He is sitting there and Mahavishnu is lying there and Mahalakshmi is massaging the feet. And is there here that we have to take spiritual instructions, they said. They left there also. Then they went to Kailasam. This is all in the Purana, you can read. Went to Kailasam. There also it was a very nice thing. Sri Parvati was sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. Kumara says to each other, we don't want any of these people to teach us spiritual life. And it wasn't that Parvati Devi understood the situation and told Lord Shiva that unless you take a role and instruct them, they are not going to accept anybody for Kumara. They are Manasaputras, isn't it? From Brahma's Manasaputra. And they have a big role in it. You can see it is because of them we have got all the incarnations. If they were not there, we won't have Krishna's appearance, Ramchandra's appearance, Narasimhamurti's appearance, and also Varaha appearance. So all major incarnations have come because of them. They went to Vaikuntham and they upset Jaya and Vijaya, and from there all these incarnations have come. Krishna appeared because of Krishna had to appear, Ramchandra had to come, and similarly Narasimhamurti had to come, and Varaha had to come, and Varaha and Narasimha the first time, and Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, then Ravana and Kumbhakarna as Ramchandra, and Shishupala and Rudrabhadra with Krishna's appearance. So you can see they are not ordinary personalities, the four Kumaras. So they are saying that we don't want any of these as our teachers. They are all busy with their household life. We want some form who can instruct us properly situated. That's when Parvati Devi's request, on their way back, when they were walking back, suddenly they saw underneath the tree, banyan tree, huge banyan tree, Shiva took up a different form as the Dakshinamurti he sat there and that's where four Kumaras goes there up to him and take the instructions from Shiva. And there photograph, if you look, you will see Shiva is sitting in that Chinmudra state. That means in pure awareness state, optic avamodam inside that. So, Chitsarupam. So that Spurti that's coming, that is the mudra. The mudra is indicating that. So, when you get very angry and go into a room and close the door and sit inside and ask this question, who is getting angry? If you can do it. If it is too bad, I'm saying. The anger is not too strong. So, normally it's not possible to do that, isn't it? You throw everything out when you get angry. You will say, what is it? Including Bhagavad Gita, you may throw it away. At that point, that happens to people, isn't it? So, if you can ask at that point that who is getting angry and ask this question, where is it coming from, then you will know at that time you get him. Oh, this I inside. And you notice him inside. And if you can take attention to that at that point, That is the dhyana, meditation. So, if you keep on going like that, everybody does that. Many people have done this in the past. When you become internal, these things are possible. Inside, spiritual inquiry begins. That you keep inquiring after that, and after some time you know that you can go a little bit more deeper than that. And when you go further down, you will reach a state. There is a place where you will reach when you go further, and that state is called nyasam. I don't know whether you have heard this word nyasam. It's a very important word in spiritual life. When you start going inwards, at a particular state, after holding on to that aham smriti, you will go to a deeper level, and then you started recognizing it is a reality, this aham inside. And when it is not coming and disturbing you anymore, the emotions from outside or the thought waves, that state is called nyasam. If you take Srimad Bhagavatam and look there, Narayana Kavacham, it talks about nyasam there. People don't even worry about it. They read Bhagavatam and they say that it is there in Vishnu Sahasranamam also, nyasam. You have to perform nyasam in order to get the result. If you chant Narayana Kavacham properly, if you look into the 6th canto, 8th chapter, I think it is. 6th canto? No. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, 8th chapter. Yeah. 8th chapter. 8th chapter, Narayana Kavacham. It's one of the most important chapters in Bhagavatam. And if you read that, Shri Shubha Vacha, verse 3, Vrudha, Vrutra, Purohita Swashtra, Mahendrayanu Prichade, Narayana Kimma Parihaigamana Shruno. Narayana Kavacham is instructing who? Our Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa is instructing Narayana Kavacham. Vishwarupa is saying here 4, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. All of them is this nyasam. Nyasam. Daudhamri Parnira Samyam Savamitra Udan Mukha Kridaswam Karanyaso Mantra Abhyam Vagya Dashiji Narayanmayam Varma Sanahe Advayamagade Padayo Janor Vauru Udare Vidhadorasi Mukhe Shirasya Bhumyam Puruyad Omkara Agni Vinyase Om Namo Narayanayi Vidaye Amtaviva Karanyasam Tadakurya Dwadashakshara Vidyaya Pranavadi Akaranam Mangalya Angushtabhavasu Nese Hridayam Omkaram Vikaram Urdhani Shakaram Vibhuvo Madhye Nakaram Shikayadishe Vekaram Netrayavunjya Nakaram Sarvasandrishu Nakaram Astramuddishya Mandramuttir Bhaved Mutaha Savisargam Fatandam Sarvadishu Vinyadrishe Om Vishnave Namahiti. So, all those verses is called nyasam. That's the word nyasam. So, before all the mantram, there is nyasam required. Mantram is not just you take something and start chanting mantram. You don't chant mantram like that. All this is necessary if you want that results to come from that mantram. If you have some particular sankalpam inside and you want the results to happen, then you need to have the nyasam before. Now this is in the Narayana Kavacham. And if you take into the Vishnu Sahasranama, 1000 names of Vishnu, the same thing in the beginning. Talks about nyasam. So nyasam is an important thing in Vaidiga system. These are all purifications inside. Must happen before they chanting the mantra. That means what does this nyasam means? Nyasam, that if if this nyasam what we have spoken before, that means you have when you have practiced yourself about these emotions, thought waves and everything, you started asking the question who is having it. And then little by little, when it gets stronger inside, you started seeing the nature of that aham inside, aham bodham, started building up strongly inside. And if you keep on giving attention to that, what Krishna says, Shani Shani Rupramani, that will keep going deeper and deeper. And it will go at a much deeper level and it will go to one particular place and stop it there. It doesn't stop in there. And that place is called Nyasam. Now, one who does it properly is called a Samyak Nyasi. Samyak Nyasi. And that is how the word Sannyasi has come. The word Sannyasi. One who does it all the time. So you can see what is the state of a sannyasa means. One who inquired, one who has gone, always given attention to that aham bodham inside, and because absorbed in that all the time, constantly, samyak means all the time, when he is one who is performing nyasam, samyak is sannyasi. Samyak nyasam, sannyasam. That's how the word sannyasam has come. You see? Sannyasam is not a simple word, just like from the air they are pulled out, like we call him sannyasi, like this. Like brahmachari, grahastham, vanaprastham, all of the words have got a lot of meanings behind it, how that stage has come. So, externally is not important, but sannyasam means samyak nyasam. Samyak nyasam. That means, what happens in sannyasam? Every time, whenever any emotion comes, holding on to that emotions and taking them inside and allowing that to dissolve inside in aham, okay. Because he is conscious, like I mentioned, in a rough way, in a general way to say, suppose you got angry, you gone inside the room, close the door and thought about this emotion and you realize that it's not happening in me, aham bodham, it is happening outside me. And by thinking like that, eventually that anger goes away. Anger dissolves, isn't it? Similarly, every emotion, if you take it that way towards the aham bodham, and if it gets dissolved there, that is called sannyasa. Sannyasi is meant to do like that. That's expected from a sannyasi. So, if you look into Taittiriya Upanishad, that's what is known as Taittiriya Brahman. Brahman, Mandram Brahman, Aranyam Upanishad. So, Taittiriya Brahman, Taittiriya is called Taittiriya Brahman. You may not find it in Upanishads normally. It's called Taittiriya Brahman. In that Taittiriya Brahmanam, there is a mantra for that. How to take every emotion and go and get it dissolved inside. Adirmeva adishadaha vak hridayamani aham amridam janmani. In other words, every emotion that is developing inside, it is taken to the sense where it is coming from. Say for example, you saw something and you got angry, then through the eye, that emotion you have to take it inside and get it dissolved inside the soul. It's a process, the whole process discussed in the Upanishads. And every emotion bringing into its own sense through which it has come in. And from the level of the sense to the level of the mind. From the level of the senses, from the field of the sense to the field of the mind. And from the field of the mind to this aham spurti. Spurti that is coming from inside. And eventually allowing that to jaya in the heart. That is called nyasam. They also call it as laghu nyasam. Laghu nyasam it is called. So one who does that all the time is called samyaknyasi or sannyasi. Samyaknyasi or sannyasi. Because these two, Vishnu Sahasranamam and Narayana Kavacham are two which I thought you are familiar with. But if you study Lalit Sahasranamam, that is also called Nyasam. You have to perform Nyasam. So all these famous Vedic mantras, before you chant them, you should have performed nyasam. Not that I come out of the car after driving 500 miles and then say I'll start chanting Vishnu Sahasranam. How will it help? It won't work. You have to prepare inside first. That means a stage has to happen inside where there is no emotions building up like that. So preparing the ground for that. That's what it does. The nyasam does that. So here, so every time bringing every of these emotions inside and bringing it where and how to take it there to me, within me, and finding out who I am and my own identification. That is what is called Tattva Vijara. Tattva Vijara means that. So knowing oneself, what I am, or knowing one's own awareness, and because of this Tattva Vijara, self-realization will come up eventually. So eventually self-realization come up. In other words, what actually exists, that will come out. That will come out. What actually exists, that will come out. Actually what exists inside, only Atma. Atma will shine at that time. These are the ways shown how to get to that experience. So at that point you will realize that there is no such thing called mind, there is no such thing called intelligence. Even the body or the ego, none of them will exist at that time. We will have a break. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, nyasam. When our attention has fallen on that aham, bodham, and then it goes deeper, and at one particular point it will become so firm inside. And similarly, all other emotions also, one who is able to bring it inwards and get it finally dissolved there in that position, Samyek Nyasam is called as sannyasam. So, in other words, it's also mentioned as Tattva Vijara. Tattva Vijara means that knowing oneself, and knowing one's real identity. And due to this Tattva Vicharam, that means spiritual inquiry, this self-realization will happen. self-realization will happen means, what does it mean? It means that what actually is there, that will come out, in simple terms. Now, that's what Krishna is saying there. That's why he mentioned that word. Asat has no bhavam. Only Sat has got bhavam. Why does he say that? Because when this happens, you will know that truth, what Krishna is saying. That nasado vidyate bhavo nabhavo vidyate sada, which means that Asat has no bhavam, Sat has always got bhavam. That truth will come out when the soul realization happens inside. At that point, when self-realization happens, Alma, the soul inside, manifests through Tattva Vijnana. Talking about the Jnana. When you come to that stage, eventually the truth is getting revealed. It comes out from inside. That Alma is the only thing that existing. Body has no existence, mind has no existence, intelligence has no existence, ego has no existence, only Alma has existence. This awareness will come out from inside. This big difference coming from inside and coming from outside. Coming from outside will all go and stay here. Coming from inside will be in the experience level. Coming from inside will always be in the experience level. So, the principle in Vedanta is that if you know what really exists, that is enough. What doesn't exist, you don't have to know about it. What really exists, that you will know, and what does not exist will naturally it will go. When Alma manifests or self-realization happens in a person, automatically, what does not exist will go away. What does not exist will go away. Which means, mind, body, intelligence, ego, everything will leave you on its own accord. On its own accord it will leave. You don't have to put separate endeavor for that. The moment this realization comes. That means, as soon as the self-realization happens, identification with the body, mind, intelligence will leave on its own. You don't have to leave them on your own. It will leave on its own. That is how the system works. Process is. So, at the moment, why is that? What doesn't have any reality, we feel now has got reality. Like the body, like the mind, intelligence, and ego, everything, which has no reality. At the moment we feel it has got reality, isn't it? We feel the body is real, we feel the mind is real, intelligence is real. Because the only reason, that is what in Shastram, what they call it as Ajnanam. Remember, this word Ajnanam is important. Ajnanam is not that something, some knowledge you don't have. That's not what Ajnanam is. We'll sing this verse, Ajnanat Nirantasya. Jnananjana Shravaya. What is that Ajnanam? Ajnanam is not that you don't have some information about something. That's not Ajnanam. Ajnanam is this. That what exactly is real inside is not coming out. What I am not, I am become that. That means body, mind, intelligence and ego. All that I am experiencing now. I am experiencing the body. I feel I am experiencing the body. I am experiencing the mind. I am experiencing the intelligence. I am experiencing the ego, senses, everything. And I am not experiencing my real identity as a soul. This is called Ajnanam. This is called Ajnanam. So, just like I gave the example, that it is like this. These two examples are in the Upanishads also. Then people have read about ghost, isn't it? We read about ghost. And we hear about them from the books. A lot of books are written about ghosts, isn't it? People like reading about that. You will see when people traveling in the aeroplane and all, and they'll buy a book from the W.H. Smith, and they'll be reading very seriously in the flight because they're frightened about their own mind. They can't sleep peacefully. They have to read something and engage the mind in something. They'll get disturbed otherwise. And it will be some funny book like this about a ghost, something like that. So you notice one thing, you never see a ghost in the light. It's always in the darkness. It's always in the darkness. Why? Yeah. If you tell your mind about the ghost, mind likes it. Mind has got some attraction towards the ghost. And mind always gets happiness. It gets a great taste when you talk about something which doesn't have any reality, which doesn't, mind will find it very interesting. When you talk about something. So not only that, all the ghost stories will start at midnight or after midnight. The whole story will start. So suppose you say that the ghost will come at midnight, everybody will get up and they will feel that ghost presence. So mind likes to hear about the ghost, and all the stories related to ghosts are mostly in the darkness, written up in the darkness. So, and it is difficult to write these stories also based on the daytime. So, you can see this, all of them are happening in the midnight. And you also notice they will wear this white dress also. They will put it a white dress on the ghost, whatever it is. So maybe that they can identify them in the darkness. Maybe that's why they are putting this white dress on the ghost. So all these stories are ajnanam. All these stories are ajnanam. So ajnanam, we give the life to it. We give the life to it. So, and there are living entities who are born from ignorance. And all these objects which are born from that ajnanam, and that is all has something to do with the ahankara inside. Our ahankara, when you have ahankara, there is ajnanam inside. You see? When you have ahankara inside, ahankara means ego, false ego. When you have ahankara, certainly we have ajnana inside. In a social level, that you have to know. A very, very subtle level that is. When there is ahankara inside, there is ajnana inside. There is ajnana inside. And when there is ajnana inside, only in ajnana you can give life to these things. Ghosts and goblins and all other things what we talk about. Only there you can give life to that. You see? And therefore, at the moment, soul, alma, how are we perceiving that? We see that as ahankara or jiva. Jiva. That is how we are perceiving it. And just like a person was walking through a village. He's walking through a village. And it was late in the night, probably about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, early hours. And there is moon shining and plenty of trees and plants on both the sides, roads. He's walking through the street and there was nobody there. And there was one post somewhere which was painted white. So from distance, and he has read some stories about the ghosts and all that from the books. So he saw that, and suddenly from mind, the thoughts came about the ghost. As soon as the thoughts came, he started thinking, is that not that what I am seeing there? And the fear came along with that ghost as real. And that too because it was painted white, it looked like a ghost for him. So only thing what could he do? He couldn't go further on his street. He stood there. He looked around and there was a lot of these stones lying there for old construction. They had left it. Small pieces, this size. So he took one of them and started throwing. And because he was so frightened, whatever he was throwing was not hitting the post. It was going this side and that side. And he kept on throwing at them, thinking that the ghost will, he can fight with the ghost because of the fear inside. And suddenly, one of the stones he has thrown has gone and hit the post.
hit the ghost. Ghost and post story, it's called. Post and the ghost. So when it hit that post, suddenly he realized, this is not the ghost. Suddenly the memory came back to go post again, because he remembered the other day when he was coming this way, somebody was painting that post. So all that thoughts came back to him and he realized it's not a ghost, actually it is a post on which he was throwing the stones. So here, first mistake, what did he do? He made this mistake that he recognized that in that post there is something. The first illusion developed inside. And when he recognized that, he saw there something. Something he has created inside, that in that post there is something. That was the first recognition. In reality there was nothing there, isn't it? So, reality there was nothing there, but he recognized. So by recognition only, they get their life. They get their life. So there are many things like that in the Shastram, which is due to the influence of the mind, we give life to it. Through our mind, we give the life to it. They also give an example that in a big cemetery, there was a mango tree, plenty of mangoes. And they nobody was willing to go there and pluck the mangoes, because they knew that in the cemetery there will be ghosts and evil spirits and things like that. So they're not willing to go. So two people got an idea, and then also the people who the church owned that area, they will not allow. But the mangoes were going wasted. So two people got an idea that we'll go and get the mangoes from there. So in the middle of the night, they went there and plucked all the mangoes. And while plucking, a couple of mangoes fell on the other side of the compound wall of the cemetery. After they have plucked all the mangoes, they were sharing it, they were counting it. One for me, one for you, one for me, one for you. Like that. In the meanwhile, a person came that way. And he heard this, one for me, one for you. So immediately in his mind, he has established earlier that all the souls are shared between the God and the devil. So the what do they call it? Partitioning that. So it's going on inside. We thought, we didn't think that mangoes are being counted and shared. So he goes back to the priest and says to the priest that, Father, whatever you have told is correct. They are counting there inside. The counting is going on and they are sharing the souls are being shared, he was saying. The father said, no, that's not true. It's all said in the Bible like that. I have said like what I have said, and there is no such thing, he said like that. So father was not convinced, although he says the same thing every day from the Bible. Anyway, the person who came running up to him said, Father, if you don't believe me, come with me. Show you, he said. So when they went there, this is still going on, this counting is going on. So he said, the father says, you're right. Till now I never believed that, because I've only read it in the Bible. But now you're right, they are sharing that. So meanwhile, these two mangoes outside, they were lying there, isn't it? So they knew this. And so they were saying one to another, that there are two lying there outside, one for you and one for me. As soon as they said that, both this father and this man, they ran away from there, because they thought that they were going to share them also in the same way. So these are there, these kind of stories are there. So many stories like this. In every religion there is this kind of stories centered around all these goals and spirits and all that. And particularly this becomes very difficult sometimes. And stories have got this one problem, that there are so many stories in this world, isn't it? So in this incident, that what you are seeing here, that till you know the vastu in reality, that stories will develop always, centered around many things. That story became popular like that. It has become like somebody has written the story and it became popular like that. And you have no way of verifying it, have you?
try these things. They're like that. So Satyam, truth also, when you present it like that to the world, stories will develop in the same way, about the truth also. So if you have not properly got some truth behind it, if you don't know what has exactly happened, that even lie will develop in the story. Lies will develop in the form of stories. And that lie, due to the power of your faith, you'll start seeing that in your life. You'll start experiencing that. Like many stories centered around so many temples and so many jnanis. Sometimes stories develops like that from the temples, it originates. And often you have no chance or opportunity to verify whether it is all correct and accurate like that. But we accept that because it's spoken by someone and it has spoken for generations, and we just accept it like that. You have no way of verifying it, isn't it? So that means in darkness, when you inquire, you accept it in that way. So to come out of the darkness to light, and in other words, ajnanam, inside, from the darkness, to bring you to the light. What is light? Light is, you have to know what is vastu sthiti, in other words. What is the essence or substance in that? That's why in the Bhagavatam, when it mentions, there are stories in the Bhagavatam, but ultimately Bhagavatam is also saying to us, Satyam Varam Dhimahi, that Satyam alone is the vastu. Only soul is the vastu. Soul is the Satyam. Everything else is false, or it's only a incident that has happened, but which may be true or may not be true. You have no means of verifying this, anything else except the soul. Soul, if you realize it, then you will say yourself that this is the only reality. Everything else is not real. That is the importance of self-realization stressing here. That while realizing the truth, the importance of realizing the truth is for this purpose. That once you realize it, you will know everything else is false. Everything else is vastu sthiti. It is called vastu sthiti in Upanishads. Vastu, knowing the vastu, what vastu means. So because stories, the difference is the person who is speaking, he has to be in the state of that vastu, realization of vastu sthiti. And the person who is listening, he also has to be in that state. Then what is spoken there is the truth. What is spoken there is the truth. Why is it like that? Because suppose I am telling you a story and you are listening to the story. I am not eternal because I am speaking from the bodily level. You are hearing from the bodily level. And therefore what is spoken also is not the truth. Because I am not the truth, you are not the truth, whatever that is communicated between is also not the truth. Whereas in a self-realized state, when a person is speaking something and the person is receiving it from that state, whatever that is transpired between them is also truth. That is how Upanishad's statement about this. Only that is transpired between a person who is realized the truth and a person who is hearing it from the realized state is true. Rest everything else is either false or lie. All on a relative plane, you have to remember that. When we say false or lie, it's not the way you look at normally false and lie in a different way, isn't it? It's like we say that there are so many things we say in this world. In Vyavaharam we say many things in transactions. From the absolute platform they are all lie. From the relative platform they are truth. Relative platform they are truth. Absolute platform they are all lies. There is no meaning in it. That's all. No meaning is come, it's gone. Spoken, finished with it. But at an absolute level, I don't know whether you are getting the point. Only when you are talking about the absolute truth, by a person who has realized the truth, to a person who has realized the truth, Only that is truth. Everything else is in this world is lie. In this world is lie. It has no meaning because it is spoken and it's gone. And that's why various stories and all, when it comes in different forms in this world, isn't it? You may sometimes hear some of the stories from Puranam. In one Puranam it's spoken one way. Another Puranam is in a slightly different way. Now, because of that, we cannot criticize Puranam. Why? Puranam is necessary in this world to get people first interested in spiritual life. But the reason why it's spoken in different ways is so that you don't get caught in that story and the details. Rather, you start asking the question, why is it like this in this book, in this way, in that book, in that way? Take for example creation. Creation in Bible one way spoken. In the Quran it is spoken in another way. In the for the Jews it's in a different way. And for Bhagavatam it is in a different way. Creation. Now if you start acquiring which one is, I'm going to investigate and find out which is the right process of creation. And then we have got the scientific version also. We had enough of all the other ones. Added to that, we have got one more. The scientists saying from the Big Bang theory and all that. Creation. Now who is correct? So, Shastram, what Vedam is saying to us, that is necessary at a stage in spiritual life. When you are coming first time in spiritual life, your inquiry is about how this world has come first. Everybody will ask that question, isn't it? At that time we need an answer, so therefore there is an answer there in the Shastra to give it to you. And therefore in every religion there is a process of creation mentioned. The mistake what scientists are doing is, they are taking all these things and saying that they are all false. But the way the process of creation is explained in the different scriptures is only to generate that, to fulfill your desire to know first things. It is a very preliminary stage when one is thinking about the world, about the God, about you. Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat, three things. That is how every world in the world, generally spiritual life is centered around these three, isn't it? I am here, the world is there, the God is there. What should I do now to get there? He is watching us from there. This is how all the scriptures are written generally. Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat. But they are there only in a certain level. After that, sometime, when you start realizing that beyond these things there is the truth. What is the truth? That's what you are inquiring. Truth is not a person who is sitting there. You can't identify that because truth is always there. Truth cannot have a birth. That's why Krishna's statement in the Chandrakshmi Bhagavatam also, Ahamevasa Mevagre, Nanyandri Sansalpara Paschadaham Yadedancha, Yoga Shishyana Sosniham. Krishna is saying that there's only one thing existing and it always exists, beginning, middle, end, all the time. Therefore, he is the truth. So similarly, here also, this awareness what we have and home, then that is the, if you start giving attention to that, it starts catching fire. It starts catching fire. And instead of that, if you spend the whole lifetime thinking that I am this body, instead of giving attention to that, if you start spending the time, whole time, boyhood, youthhood, old age, everything, and they will cheat us. They will cheat us at the end. They will cheat us at the end. Because it is a avidya inside to think that I was a boy, I was a young man, I am an old man. This is all the avidya that is coming from the ajnana. These signals are coming. I was a young person, I was a middle-aged man, I am an old man. This is nothing but the avidya coming from inside. But due to deeply rooted avidya, we don't take notice of it. We think we have to say because Vyavahara forces us to make that statement. So, it is because of this reason only that when you start thinking that I have to do this for my child, it's like the name giving ceremony to the child, or I feeding ceremony to the child, or even getting the child married, or when he grows up. All these things, let that carry on in its own, but if you start identifying with all of them that it is all happening to me, then that ajnanam or avidya, it will keep on getting strengthened. That is the problem. When all these things are happening, for example, as a householder, one is doing all these things, isn't it? That he has got to certain things to perform in life, marriage and this, that and the other, all sorts of things. But all of them, what it does is, in a subtle level, it strengthens your avidya. It strengthens the avidya inside. Upanishad is saying to us, you will be shocked what Upanishad says about all these things. Upanishad says to us that when you hear them, it is a most amazing thing. Once, Indra and Virochana. Virochana is the head of the demons and Indra is the head of the demigods. They goes to Prajapati, to Brahma. They goes to Brahma and wanted to hear Brahma Vidya from him. Wanted to hear Brahma Vidya from him. So Brahma Vidya, Prajapati looked at both of them. Prajapati looked at both Indra and Virochana. And he told them, in them days, not only them days, for quite a long period, if you go and ask for spiritual direction or spiritual instruction from the sages and from great personalities, they will never give you a direct instruction. This was always a system in the past. It was never a system to give you a direct, clear instruction. They will never do that. So what Prajapati told them was, get dressed nicely, then go around to some lake or some river bank and stand there and look into the water. And whatever you see in the water, that is Brahma. That's how they instructed the both. Both Indra and Virochana. They were instructed in that way. So, why was it that they did not instruct people directly? Because the reason was that this Brahma Vidya of self-realization, if you keep on instructing on that, it will lose its taste. On the other hand, if you realize it, it will be a lot more tastier than the way it comes to you by direct instructions. So, because of this only, in bhakti process, because if you give more importance to stories, isn't it? Bhakti means storytelling, a lot of telling stories. People like saying, oh, wonderful, everything's nice, so many stories he has told us. You keep on listening to the stories, isn't it? So, because if you keep on giving these stories, what will happen is, this analysis of the soul or spiritual inquiry will go down in that person. Sometimes that is a possibility that will happen. People will hold on to catch on to these stories a lot because stories world is unlimited, isn't it? It's an unlimited world there is what stories. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if you look, there is a number of stories available. Centered around everything, there are stories available. If you take all their stories and start reading that, whole life you can repeat, but there will be no end to it. So, but the problem there is that the spiritual inquiry will suffer because of that. And therefore, in the jnana process, in bhakti process you tell all the stories, a lot of stories. But in the jnana margam, you won't say even that very little is spoken. Very little is spoken. In the olden days, they won't say anything. In the Upanishad's time, not only that they will do, they won't say anything, they will mislead you as well. In the Upanishad's time, there's many stories in the Upanishads where the rishis deliberately misled deliberately they did that because they know very well the knowledge is inside the person. It has to come out from. In order to make this inquiry power strong, they will put it in that way. That if you give everything, hand over everything to plate, he won't inquire. He will be satisfied with it and he will say, I got everything, and will go. But if you want to go deeply into any subject, and if you have to get the person deeply absorbed in that, you have to not to give him everything. You have to give him divine anything. So sages in the Upanishad times, they will not give everything. They will only give one or two indications here and then they will say, leave it to you. You go and find out yourself. There's that story in the Chandrakya. He is telling that boy that he came and there's a group of boys there, brahmacharis there, who are learning from the Guru. Guru is telling one of them, he noticed that that person had a good inquiry power. He had good inquiry power and he didn't teach him at all. When he was not a good inquiry power, what he told him, he says, there is a group of cows there, take all the cows, go to the forest, and when you get the answer, realization happens, come back, he says, and send him away. He went and stayed in the forest. Cows were grazing and he was sitting there absorbed in the thoughts from the word what he has spoken by the teacher. And one day, many years have gone, there are 1,000 cows. One of the cow comes back and says to him that the teacher has told us that when you have realized the truth, you can come back. By now, the brahmachari who had gone with the cows has realized the realization has happened to him and he is coming back with the cows. When he is coming back, the spiritual master saw him from the distance and by looking at him, he could say that he's already had the full relaxation. So in other words, no instruction was given. The Guru sees the disciple in that way and instructs them according the less they can give, they enjoy it because then they know that the person who has got it has really got it. Because otherwise, if everything is handed over, it wasn't considered to be the proper way in them days. So, they will say everything except the purpose they will come for. Everything else they will discuss. Many realized souls as also got siddhis, they are also like that. And they will say here and there something unconnected each other. They will say something. So here, our Prajapati also asked these two, Indra and Virochana, what do you want? Because they looked in the water and they saw their form in the water. After dressing up nicely, they looked in the water and they found their form in the water and they came back to Prajapati and Indra and Virochana. Together they came back to Prajapati. So Prajapati asked him, what do you want now? I've given you the instruction before. So what do you want now? Said. So Indra and Virochana says to him, we want to know about ourselves. He said. So alright, he said. You do one thing, he said. When you look in your reflection in the water, were you dressed up very well? He's asking this question. They said, yes, you are dressed. No, you have to dress up in a very opulent way. You dress up. And then you look. And then you will see. And send them back. So when they sent like this, he was sending them back all the time without giving any spiritual instructions. And they were gone there to get spiritually instructed. So, and after that, what happened was, they were dressed in two different colors. So Indra was dressed in green and Virochana was dressed in red or something. So Indra says, I am in green Atma and he is in red Atma. She started thinking, he said two colors for the Atma. Atma has got two different colors like that. And he goes back. Virochana didn't go back. Virochana says, I look very opulent, nice, very good. I look very impressive in this dress. He stayed back. But Indra goes back and asks this question to Prajapati again. Has Atma got a color? He's asking this question. And does Atma has got any other features where you can recognize the Atma? That means, is Atma wet or is Atma dry? And so many things. So, if this is Atma, I should be satisfied with that. Indra had some knowledge. So Indra says, if I have realized myself, I am Atma, then I should have been satisfied. But from inside, I am getting a message that it's not satisfying. I am not satisfied. He didn't get satisfied. So he says to him that this understanding is also changing away from inside me. And if it is coming, I am seeing this dress based on this color, I am considering this as Atma. If I change the dress, it should change, the Atma also should change, isn't it? So he's asking this question. And therefore, he goes back to him. And Virochana, on the other hand, whatever information he has got, based on that, he started propagating already his realizations. So, apparently it is like that the demoniac species were born. It is from that the demoniac species were born. Because, what is that demoniac species? Eat well and dress nicely and enjoy life. All this is the demonic species nature. So it is because of this Virochana Sampradaya it is called. Virochana Sampradaya. That Sampradaya is still there in the world to some extent. That's why you will notice in certain communities, when they die, they will put some rice into their mouth, feeding some rice into them. This is all that Virochana's tradition. There are certain people who do all that. Certain people who, after the person is dead and gone, they nicely decorate the body and put them sitting on a chair, and they will carry that to the cemetery like that. As far as they are concerned, body is still the person, not the soul. They say, we don't know, we know him only through the body, so we are carrying him in that. They're sitting in a nice chair, they are taking to the cemetery to bury him. And it is the same ignorance what comes in different forms. Some people, they take the body and then they bury it, isn't it? And then people go there and pray there every year or on the day of they die or something like that. People do all sorts of things in the dead body, isn't it? Upanishads are saying to us, this is the ajnanam. Ajnanam in us, avidya inside. So, Shruti says, Virochana started this process and that spread all over the world. Virochana is the origin. That from him came this business. Some community will notice that they will, when they take the dead body, before that they will feed rice inside. They think that it's very important to give some rice. It doesn't go inside but it puts it into the mouth. Some ceremony like that they do. And some other people put big garlands, everything, with the hat on and the turban, everything in a nice kurta or dhoti. They dress the form like that and they take them to the place where they're going to burn the body. So here you don't give when the person died all the importance. Not before. While he is living, nobody gives any attention. But when he dies, everybody wants to put a nice clothes on him and put garlands on him and also honor him in every way after the death, for the dead body. But the satta, the truth has already left, isn't it? So, after the body is dead, after the body is dead, some speciality with the body. That is why Acharya Swami is saying in that verse that Gatavani Vayo Jiva Vayo Vairya Vidyani Tasmin Kayo. That's a verse there. Isn't it? Verse number
6.
6. Yeah.
Yavat.
Yaval Pavano Nivasadi Gehe Tavan Pruchadi Kushalam Gehe Gadavani Vayo Deha Vai Bhavya Vibhari Asminkai. Yaval Pavanam means when there is prana inside, live fire inside, is there in the body. Taval Pruchadi Kushalam Gehe. Taval Prachari Kushalam Gehe. Everybody inquires about the welfare of the person, isn't it? Gatavadi Vaya, the life air has left. Deha Vaya, and body has see that body anymore. Wife or husband doesn't matter either way, it's just spoken by everyone, but it equals other way also. Once a person is dead, then we don't want to keep that body very long, isn't it? In different religions, different systems, but nobody keeps it for a long period of time because we know the sattva has gone from that. The best thing is quickly if we can get rid of it. That's the best thing. But in certain situations it may not be possible, so therefore you have to keep it in somewhere else, in mortuary or somewhere, and then taken to the cemetery later. But the principle is this, that once the life air has left the body, yaval pavano nimasati gehe, tavat puchati kushalam gehe, gadavati vayo deha vayo, bharya vipiri tasmin khaye. Allah is only saying to us, this is what that thing called body is, and still you won't inquire after the truth. He is saying, in spite of all knowing all these things, still you won't inquire after the truth. So, without knowing the truth, due to misunderstanding, many activities we have done in this world. We have done many activities in this world, isn't it? And that has started from this childhood. Childhood activities have started. And that continued through the boyhood, youthhood, and in the old age. And it is still continuing. Ajay Swami is reminding us that. Yaval Pavano, that ignorance, that avidya, which was there in us in such a deep-rooted level, due to that, even as a child we were doing ignorant things. In boyhood also we did ignorant things. In youth also we are ignorant. And now in the old age also you are ignorant. That's the point is driving across. So it's continuing. And so what is the problem? The thing is that when he's saying this, you have to understand it also in the right way. It is not possible to stop activity. Pravritti will continue in this world, isn't it? But problem is, I am doing and I am expecting the results. That is the problem. The same kartatva bhoktratva. I am the doer and I am the enjoyer. That is the problem. What he is pointing at. He is not saying to us that, oh, because you are not realized, therefore all your activities are avidya. Activities are avidya. But it is only avidya as long as you are taking this kartatva bhoktratva in there. As you are the doer and the enjoyer. Pravritti, activity you cannot stop. It will continue according to the urge from inside. But the problem is, when you are identifying with that I am the doer and I am the enjoyer, that is the whole problem. Then that's what he is saying here. So you can see Prahlada, this is very interesting. Prahlada particularly didn't do any sadhana, did he? Although he talked about it later. 9 processes of devotional service, Prahlada spoke, isn't it? What are they? The Shravanam honors. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam. 9 processes he spoke, but he didn't do anything himself. He told us this is the process. He didn't do anything himself. And because the reason is that when he was in the womb, when Srinarayan Maharshi spoke, it went directly into the place where it's meant to go. So on the other hand, Srimad Bhagavatam also talk about Dhruva Maharaj's penances, tapasa, isn't it? It's spoken in the 4th canto about Dhruva. We have to compare with Prahlada and Dhruva and see the difference between them. So for acquiring knowledge, tapasa, austerity is not required. It's not a requirement. And on the other hand, if you want to see a form which is called a sagunam, particular form, tapas is required. Tapas is required. Jnanam required shraddha. what jnanam requires is shraddha, not tapasa. Tapasa means, you know what I mean. Tapasa means austerities and penances. Like Hiranyakashipu went to the forest and performed austerities and penances. Jnanam doesn't require that, austerities and penances. Tapasa is given here. Jnanam, what does jnanam require? Jnanam requires shraddha. Whereas if you want to meet a particular form in person, whether it is Shiva or Vishnu or Krishna, whichever form you want to meet with, then you require tapasa. You require tapasa. Hiranyakashipu performed tapasa. And you will see in Bhagavatam many personalities performing tapasa. And they will all have eventually a particular connection with the form what they have worshipped or what they have performing penances for, to see the particular form. You will also see there that Mrigasura performing austerities and penances and asking, when are you going to appear to Lord Shiva? And finally, when he started to cut his throat and take the head and put it in the fire, Shiva appeared there immediately. So that example is there in the Bhagavatam. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu's example, all that. So, jnanam, knowledge, realization doesn't require tapasa. What knowledge requires, jnanam requires is shraddha. Shraddha is what is required. If there is sufficient shraddha in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita, the result must come. What is lacking is shraddha in us. Shraddha is not there. So, if you have shraddha, that itself is the tapasa for jnana. Nirantaram means continuous shraddha, and Prahlada's shraddha was so good while within the womb. That is why when he came out, from the day he was born, he was experiencing the result within, isn't it? When he came out of the womb, the shraddha was so good that the result was already there in him. That is what Bhagavatam is saying to us. So, there's more. We will continue next Sunday. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.